All right, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting. Apologies for the slight technical difficulties, but hopefully, I think, I think we are there. So we are gonna get our screen up, and oh, it looks beautiful on this fine Saturday, and we've got a fine game of Wingspan, or three perhaps, coming up for you today. It is a final. It is the final of the Forest Falcon brackets festival, and I'm sure that was the easiest way of reading out that title. And we've got two very, very talented Wingspan players here in this game. We've got JunePaik and we've got Jjlig2. So very, very exciting, this tournament. And yeah, I've got a very exciting co-commentator on this game one. I've got Giraffe. How are you doing today, Giraffe?
Hello. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And yeah, as I said, very exciting game. Very exciting game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What has been an interesting tournament, a little bit of a different one, this one. So we had, of course, the usual knockout bracket, but we had a bit of an interesting way of getting there. We had 7 individual brackets. Winner of each bracket gets through to the final. That left an 8th spot, and here, this is all about celebrating the Falconer bonus card and the Falconer bird type. So before we get started, I just want to give shout-outs here to Shepard and the Falconer board they had, which got them through into the final 8. Unfortunately, didn't get them all the way through to the final, but this is a pretty impressive Falconer board. Even had Rodentologist to go along with it. 9 birds in total, so big scores, and yeah, impressive stuff to get that many Falconer birds, and that secured their ticket into the final 8. So very, very nice. And as I say, very interesting way of getting your way into the final. But we are here in the final. As I said, 2 excellent players, JunePaik and Jjlig2. Neither of them have won an individual tournament yet. So we are going to get a first-time winner, which is super exciting. Feels a bit like deja vu because we had this a couple of weeks ago with the last tournament. We're going to have it again. And that is always fun to add a new player into the Hall of Champions. So before we know who our champion is, we've got to place a Wingspan, of course. So I think we're about ready to jump in now. So we have flipped. JunePaik is going first in this game 1 of what is potentially a best of 3. So we've got the invite ready. If the players want to jump into the game, we can get started here. So yeah, best of luck to both players. And yeah, we're going to get started here. So we're on Oceania. We've got these new boards, and we've got a starting hand here for JunePaik. So let's take a look as they jump in. What are we going to get to look at? We're going to get a chipping sparrow.
Forest engine.
We're going to get a chipping sparrow and a nuthatch. So absolutely, forest engine. I mean, you always want to go forest engine, I feel like, on these Oceania boards, but chipping sparrow, such a lovely bird. I feel like you've got to keep that at the start, right, Giraffe?
Oh, definitely. It's so, helps for the tempo so much, especially with we have way less eggs, so anytime you get eggs outside the grasslands, it's amazing. Nuthatch, to go with it, also an amazing bird, way to score points, maybe save you some food when you need it. So yeah, I would definitely be picking those 2. I can see the green heron as a weapon option, but I think personally I'll be more tempted to go for that Australian raven. I just love this bird, and with those 2 birds in the forest, I think it would be really, you'll have easier time getting it down in the wetlands.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm really liking the look of the Australian Raven. I think it's maybe a bit unusual in the early game to think about those game end powers. Super early on in the game, you want those brown powers, you want to get that engine going, and you worry about the big points later. But something like that just supports the forest engine approach so well. And yeah, with the chipping sparrow and with that nuthatch as well, you're going to want to take food a lot because you're going to get the cached food points. You're going to get the eggs. That chipping sparrow is your only egg source, so you want to use that a lot. And yeah, having something like the Raven in hand for later is super, super powerful. And to be honest, I think even the Trey's got some quite good options. So that stubble quail, I really like that as an option when you're going forest.
I was also looking at this.
Yeah, use up your extra food there. So Definitely going for a greedy keep there, but I completely understand that with what was a very, very strong start. So, yeah, maybe not quite such a good start here for Jjlig, but they have got some options to work with, and certainly something like the Baltimore Oriole. Now, with that starting Nectar, just how much better is that kind of bird in the starting hands, do you think?
I'm not sure it's that much better. Of course, it gets you food. It's 9-point bird, so you jump starting your points. But for the power, I don't think it's not that much better. Okay, you can play it earlier, but the power is, I'd say, not the best.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
With that.
It's a tricky one. I feel like it's definitely easier to get down with that starting Nectar, and I think you always want that first forest bird so you can start getting 2 food. You want to be trying to get more nectar. The star nest never hurts, but yeah, like you say, the power is maybe not quite as inspiring. Oceania boards, you want to be getting as much nectar as possible, and I got no time for berries. I don't want them going anywhere near my food supply. So yeah, I think it probably is going to still be a keep. 9-point bird, I say, with that star nest is going to help on this first end around goal at least, but not really looking so hot in terms of the card draw. So we're looking at a black skimmer. Is that a kind of bird you want to keep, or is that a bit of a desperation play just to get something down?
I think it's a more of a desperation play. Overall, I don't think it's that terrible of a bird. Counts for pretty nice bonus cards. 6 points on its own may score some points, but if I see something better than it, I'm just not taking it. I may be looking in the wait, how do you pronounce that name? It's Jinko Mobile, I think. I'm not sure, but I will be anyway in this player situation. I may be looking at this Eleanor's Falcon more than the Skimmer.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Eleanor's Falcon as well. It's not the best of brown powers, but it can potentially get you some eggs. And I think in this sort of situation, where, as we talked about, everything that's good about this chipping sparrow is because it gets you eggs, and eggs are so hard to come by. So yeah, being able to get some eggs outside of your grasslands can potentially be a pretty nice option to have. So yeah, no surprise, I think, from either player. Chipping Sparrow go down, Baltimore Oriole or Jjlig. And they kept the pink power. Did notice that the Pheasant Kukul, I think that makes sense in isolation. You want to keep the pink powers and get yourself some eggs, but probably ruined by that turn 1 Chipping Sparrow. So yeah, I don't think necessarily that is going to see too many activations, if indeed it is going to be played at all. So bit of a shame, but 2 fish have been acquired, so it does seem like Black Skimmer is going to be going down. So Jjlig, I'd imagine, is going to be doing their digging, but yeah, for JunePaik, this is much more straightforward, I think, in the start, and just getting things going here. And potentially this green heron, let's think about this. If they're getting some free berries coming through from the Oriole, you can turn that into nectar, and suddenly you are getting some nice benefit coming through from that kind of brown power. So might be an interesting dynamic. Might be an interesting one there.
Yeah, and I think, if I remember correctly, you trading nectar, food for nectar, also counts as spending nectar. I may be wrong on that, not sure. So if that is the case, the heron will definitely help win the nectar rate in the wetlands.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, you make a very good point, and we'll kind of see what JunePaik chooses to do here. But
if it does,
so you can, if you trade nectar for something else, that counts as the spending nectar, and that can help you win the nectar race. But you can also, of course, trade something else and gain the nectar. So you're not getting the nectar discarding benefit, but you are getting more nectar, which I think, when you've got these big point birds, I mean, grabbing something like the great blue heron, I think that's exactly the kind of bird you want to be looking to spend extra
but
nectar
maybe on. But maybe not as great as revealing this great crested grip, which is an excellent bird.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I try to pronounce this name for the Jjlig. How do you pronounce it? I'm not sure. The other player name did. Not the JunePaik.
JunePaik. That's what I'm going with.
JunePaik and and the other.
Jjlig.
Jjlig. Okay.
Yeah, whenever I see three consonants squished together like that, I read them out as separate letters because otherwise that is going to be, not pretty. So I'm probably just going to call them JJ. I think that's going to be my cop out.
I'm going with that. With this then. Also.
But yeah, good turn there for JJ, as you said, being able to get the Grebe and Skimmer with the hit. So 4 dice to work with. Doing some work there, getting hold of a cached food there, so very, very nice. And I did wonder with Kakapo in the tray if that was going to tempt JunePaik here. They did. I noticed they kept the Forester bonus card at the start, so pretty solid bonus card. Of course, Chippy Sparrow doesn't work for that, which is a bit of a shame, but something like Kakapo, again with these yellow game end powers, maybe a bit early to be grabbing them, but I think it's always a good idea to get that so that you're ready to play it later.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think that JJ has, JunePaik, unfortunately, they skipped the trade with the Heron, so lost point from them.
Yeah, it's a good point, and some of this might come down to timing. I think it's about waiting until you've got that food and then going and taking cards. I think there's always that question of when do you go for the cards? When do you make sure you're going to benefit from that trade? And when do you just say, do you know what? Those cards in the tray are too good. I'll happily sacrifice not really being able to use the Heron and go and grab the lovely birds in the tray. And I did notice they did grab Eleanor's Falcon as well, so we might see something cooking there in the wetlands. And a nice double play on the horizon. So all looking pretty solid, I think, for both players. I think, do you know what? It was not a great starting hand for JJ, but they're getting things going. They're going to get this Grebe down. I think they're looking pretty good for this first end of round goal as well. So hopefully for their sake, with that fresh tray going first in round 2, something good could come up. They could go ahead and grab whatever cards come up. So
I do agree with that. I think they're also in a pretty good position to maybe win the first EOR because they have to start. They will have 2 star nests.
Absolutely.
Instead of 1 on the JunePaik side.
Absolutely.
So there's points are to be found in their board.
Yeah. And I mean, Oriole, 9 points, big point bird already down, so that definitely helps out. Did notice they grabbed the stubble quail as well, so that is potentially a good way of using some of these extra berries that you might not want from the Baltimore Oriole, but if you can turn those into eggs through the quail when you don't have an egg source, I think that could be potentially quite a nice option. So, interesting question in the chat asking about this Heron. Can you trade nectar for nectar? The answer is no. Has to be different food. So you can, on one turn, trade a nectar for something else, and then on your turn after that, trade that back into a nectar, and you can, maybe get a bit of benefit there through the spending a nectar. But it's got to be different. So you can't cheese the system.
Oh, okay.
In that way.
Wrong about the power.
As good as that could be, as powerful. I think that might potentially make the Green Heron a very strong bird if you could do that. Definitely winning the nectar.
A+ tier.
A+ tier, yeah, indeed. But maybe not quite without that additional benefit. But as I said, both players kind of setting up well here. Maybe a little bit of a difficult decision, I think, here for JunePaik, because they've sort of put themselves in this position where, you've got this end of round that you can fight for. You've got nectar in your supply, so you've got to use it this turn. Of course, nectar gets discarded at the end of each round, so if you don't spend it, it's gone. And they're actually doing what might look a little bit unconventional, but laying the 2 eggs there just to make sure they're at least going to get a tie in the end of round. And I don't mind that. I think sometimes with Chipping Sparrow, you can find it's not enough eggs in the early game to be playing all of the birds that you want, and of course hitting these end of round goals at the same time. So maybe a slight delay, but I think if it gets a few extra points and a few extra eggs down, certainly not a bad thing. And being able to spend more nectar, of course, always going to be helpful. So JJ responding as well. Both players tying on that best end of round goal. We come into round number 2, and we've got some big point birds. We've got a wild turkey, which might be a nice option, but not really the game-saving brown powers, this is where you really come into the second round and you hope there's a nice raven or something in the tray to really rescue your game, or something like a wood duck. But maybe not the case here, but still, great Chris agreed. Could be doing something here. And yeah, power crossbow. What do you make of that pickup?
Pretty unusual. I played the powered crossbow once and regretted it later. So I wouldn't be sure they are leaving.
Well, there's the raven.
You jinxed it.
You are welcome, JJ. I feel like I summoned that for you. So you don't need powered crossbow anymore. Now that you've got a raven and some very nice big point birds as well coming through. And this black skimmer, look, good turn. Everything's coming up JJ here. Raven, potentially the sea eagle, maybe the canvasback as well for some extra cards, but it's all looking good.
Yeah, I think they're sitting for the sea eagle.
I think so.
Yeah,
you want those big point birds.
Situation, because you don't really have the grassland engine, so I think your bet is to just play big point birds and get your points there.
Yeah, because that is the thing. Raven is good. Raven is good, but you kind of need stuff to go around it, and not really got other grassland birds. Of course, we've got the turkey, we've got that stubble quail, but these when played powers, it's not really what you look for to build out an engine. So I think they'd be hoping for some more brown powers. But do you know what? I think they can just go and dig. I think with this grebe, you're seeing a lot of cards. You can be potentially discarding some extra eggs now that you're going grasslands and just seeing more cards. So I wouldn't be opposed to doing that for maybe a couple of turns and just see what you can find and go from there. But I think, as you say, Giraffe, just having some big point birds in your hand ready to go, I think that just gives a load of flexibility as well there. So definitely going to be interesting and maybe bring in this game back into contention, because it did look like JunePaik with this start with the sparrow and the nuthatch and being able to get a good forest was kind of going to run away with it, but not necessarily the case anymore.
Oh yeah, definitely. I also do agree that JJ can easily draw for like one turn, maybe 2 turns, and just find stuff for this forest.
Exactly, and I did see in the chat mention of that scrub fowl. So already lots of these ground nests out and potentially a couple more in the hand. So
I didn't notice.
Could be an option, and we got some nice big point birds still here. So Rufus Owl, but that flycatcher as well, maybe with their bonus card. There could be something brewing here. I mean, this grassland data analyst, I don't really like it as a bonus card. I think it's really, really tricky to work with and get points. But if the stars align and you can score 5 or maybe even 8 points off that, that could be a really, really strong one to go for. So we'll see.
Yeah, I do.
We'll see how they manage that. But yeah, it could be an interesting one.
Yeah, I do find like the analyst cards, the analyst bonus cards, easier to score on the middle side. I think like get those 5 points.
Yep.
Than complete it all the way. Because 5 points as a lower side of a bonus card, that is, I think, the highest, lowest side that we have in the Wingspan. So getting 4, I think I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think even from those, I take 3 points. If I can get 3 points from that, I feel like I've done a good job. So certainly not a bad option. But here come the pink powers, Goldfinch coming up. Could be interesting, although we've not actually got any tucking birds out at the moment, so will be interesting to see what the approach is going to be there. These two, they can't resist the crossbill.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cute if you look at it.
Yeah, that might be the only thing it's got going for it. But I've never seen 2 players in a game both so tempted by parrot crossbill. So clearly got a fan club somewhere, and we might have found the only 2 members of that fan club, but maybe it makes sense. I mean, if we're thinking about trying to get this forest engine going, trying to get more food, I mean, they've got loads of big point birds that need seeds as well, and of course this Australian raven to come later with the extra caches. So maybe it's not a terrible play here. Get something down, just build this forest out, but yeah, you maybe want something a little bit better than that.
I mean, the crossbill, I feel like you need another bird to work with it, because it's more of a support option for your forest than an actual I mean, it's only bird that actually remove die the feeder after a moment and gives it range. So I do feel like you want to play it after something like maybe like some sort of flycatcher or the American Red Star that can benefit from maybe real better position in the feeder to make it to make a reroll. Wow, can't spell it. English.
Yeah, it's a good point though. It's a very kind of interesting power in that sense where you're still taking dice out of the bird feeder, but you're kind of restricted in only gaining seeds. So it definitely does have some benefit just in terms of moving the feed around. I think especially in these Oceania games where you want to get as much nectar as possible, being able to go for those rerolls as frequently as possible is definitely key. And I mean, they don't know it yet, but once this Raven goes down, they're going to have sole control over the bird feeder. So not going to be seeing your opponent doing the rerolls or doing the resetting. It's going to be entirely down to you. So Raven has gone down here.
No.
And I'm sure it would just be a case of laying some eggs, get some more of these birds out. So I think maybe Flycatcher could be next in line, but they might be thinking a little bit about this bonus card as well. We will see on that. But here we go. Early Kakapo going down. What do you make of that?
I think I can understand that. And I do because of the plays that it was put in. With the first, you want to run it, but that fourth slot that you have only gives you 2 dice and chance to reroll or get another. And I often find myself in the position, I do want this fourth bird just to get free food without sacrificing any of my other stuff. And to be honest, it's not as good as a card draw that JunePaik has. I think it's understandable that they want to have more food without having to sacrifice any of their cards at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this is definitely the stage of the game where you're sort of coming, to the end of round 2, you're going into round 3. You really want to get that engine built out, and just having that extra bird, even though it's not a brown power, like you say, getting hold of that extra food, which can potentially be points at the end of the game here with this Australian Raven, could be a good one. And chat pointing out as well, crossbill for the Forester, definitely nice. So 6 points, and now Forester lower bound is done, so that's one less thing to worry about going into the rest of this game. So pretty good food gaining turn, going here, getting lots of food, and with all these big points in hand, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they start coming out. And we've got chat speculating on the size of these different birds. That's definitely, as I said, something you've got to kind of pay attention to, be a little bit wary of if you are trying to score points off your bonus cards. So, I think, from memory, I think the turkey is the same as the raven. So they could play that down.
It stays the same, but I think they're similar.
Yeah, it's really close. But the flycatcher's going down first anyway, so we don't even have to entertain that thought as a possibility. But they're kind of looking at. I think, to be honest, this might be one of those cases where you just say, "Look, I'm not going to get distracted by this bonus card." It is something that I see players doing all the time. Where you get something like this bonus card, or like the site selection one, where you're trying to line up nests in a certain column, and
that is so hard.
You're on like behaviorists, for example. Like you find that you're playing these terrible birds, or playing birds in the wrong order, just so that you can get 1 or 2 extra points off your bonus card. I think there's a time and a place for that, and sometimes you just go, look, I'm not stressing about this. I'm just going to play my own game, and if I can get a couple of points off it at the end, then that works for me. And I completely support that approach in this instance. So it looks like the focus here is just get these big point birds out, get a bit more food going, because they do still have this double quail. So even throwing a few worms around against this strong forest, probably not the worst thing in the world to be doing. And then that you can get that quail down. and score
Oh, yeah.
a bunch of points later. So that seems like it is going to be the approach there for JJ. And the approach here for JunePaik is to start getting these wetland birds out. So very nice double play here. Heron into Falcon. Big points, and potentially now when they go and draw cards, trading for some more nectar with that Heron, but maybe getting some food, or getting some eggs, I should say, with Eleanor's Falcon. So that'll be one to keep an eye on for sure as the big point birds come out.
And a bit of a decision for JJ here, because last round, so drawing nectar is not optimal. I mean, you could
Indeed.
draw other food with Raven, or you can just dig and maybe find more stuff to play. What do you do in this situation? Do you go for the regular food, or do you?
I think I draw. I think I draw cards here. I think, like you say, it's a difficult position, and I think June is going to have a similar issue on their next turn. Just thinking ahead to, like you say, getting that nectar, and you want to be able to grab it on the next round when you lay eggs. So, in JJ's case, anyway. So, I would certainly imagine that is going to be their thinking. And yeah, the big point birds, the nice engine birds, are coming out. So a few ground powers to choose from. Lazuli Bunting maybe.
Yeah, that looks pretty good, but
it looks tempting, but
away.
Yeah, do you really want to be giving more eggs away to your opponent who has got plenty of cup space as well? Yeah, I would be certainly having second thoughts about that one. But maybe it just depends a bit on what you want to be playing in your grasslands. You want to get the brown powers out. You want to get point scoring birds out.
Yeah, I mean, there's this morning dog, but it's 0 point at this time of the game.
Again,
only one egg.
Exactly.
That's a rough grip roll.
I think it gets to the point of the game where you want to look past these 0 point birds. You want to actually start getting the bombs out, and you've already got, I could see a 6, a 7, and an 8 in their hands. So you probably prioritize those over the 0. So yeah, not an easy, not a trivial decision here, I don't think. But yeah, each of these cards, if they're laying eggs, really, really easy to just discard the extra cards to turn those into eggs. So I think it's not necessarily a bad thing to have to do that. But yeah, we come here, last turn of the round. And I did see this point out in chat, where June now has no eggs in the forest because that double play. So maybe there was a case to be made there to hold off the double play and do that in the next round, save your eggs. Because again, this is what they had to do in round 1. Take a slightly, less than ideal turn, laying eggs to tie the end of round, but does feel worth it. And hello.
Oh, hello.
The forest engine birds have come out to play again. So, got Willy Wagtail. Much maligned bird, I feel like, Willy Wagtail. It's maybe comes in for a bit of criticism for that power, but would you be picking it up and playing it as the final forest bird here for your JunePaik?
Hard to say. I mean, right now, maybe if I had bonus card for it, then I would consider it, but at the moment I think you get better draw from the wetlands. Like, you can reset the trade, you can get another card with the trade, and I feel like Willy Wagtail feels somewhat of a similar archetype than the Parrot Crosby, when it's more of a support build. Like, you want another build before it to maybe pick up the good cards that Willy Wagtail cannot pick up. And unfortunately, the JunePaik doesn't have that in their forest, so I don't really think it suits their engine.
Yeah,
I would be rather looking at that maybe gray-headed mannequin, even maybe a Strapia.
Yeah, I mean, they're all good options. They are all good options. I do agree with that. The Willy Wagtail, it could still be an option here, but it is one of those where you do kind of need that tucking bird around it to be able to support. And yeah, I was thinking that mannequin as well. I think chat's pointed it out, you pointed it out. It's such a nice power. that game ends. So leaving it in the tray. Maybe it's one. Maybe they're hoping to pick that up if they're going to play the wagtail, because of course you can pick up the star nests as well as the cup nest. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that approach goes.
I mean, maybe what they're thinking is that the JJ has grasslands to fill, maybe get some birds that can actually score some points. So they maybe not going for that mannequin as a pickup or even as a block. So maybe they feel it's safer. But we'll have to see what JJ thinks about this.
Indeed, we will see. But I think all in all, still a pretty good turn for June. I mean, they just flash in the black noddy there. Very nice, big point, 9-point bird. Easy to play in the wetlands here with the end around as well. So that'll be one to keep an eye on. Hello, engine birds. Where have you been? They're all coming out to play now. So very, very nice. Program Falcon as well. So yeah, that was a really good turn there for JJ. They can be very, very happy with what they've just found. So Galar and Falcon seem like they are going to want to go out, but those are the tucking birds that we've been waiting for. So I think if June is going to be ready to get their goldfinch out, that could be a bit of a surprise play up their sleeve. So we will see. But yeah, the engine here is starting to come together for both players, and it's going to be a bit of a race to the finish. Not many turns left, not long to go in this game, and both players have got so much I think that they want to be doing, so much they want to be playing here. So it's going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, those are cards you want to see like maybe at the second half of the first round.
Yeah.
You build, okay, I can get some basic resources around, and now I can start building my engine and maybe finish it, like ideally before the end of the second round, and then just run it and play around it. Now it's getting a bit late, but I don't think too late to make use of those birds.
Yeah, I think Willy Wagtail is going to be the really interesting one, because not a whole lot of turns left. Only 9 turns to go now for JunePaik. They play the wagtail, only 8 turns to go. So how many times are you going to use it? You've already got 4 or 5 birds potentially in your hand that you want to be playing instead. That's going to take turns. You're going to need to take food on the other turns to be able to get those out. So yeah, it's a question of timing, and it's a question of maybe just one more turn drawing cards is going to get you more value than playing the Willy Wagtail. It's a very, very difficult one to call, but
I would agree.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's like I say, it's going to be lots of taking food. It's going to be lots of playing birds. All these big point birds want to come out to play, especially that Raven with some of this extra food that I'm sure JunePaik is going to have later in this game. So we will see. We will see what is going to be the play. But I think for JJ, a bit more straightforward. I mean, Galar feels like it's still a good play. Program Falcon as well. So I'm sure we'll see one, potentially both of those come out in this grasslands, and then it might just be spamming for eggs late in the game and then playing 1 or 2 more big point birds from the hand. So yeah, this will be a very interesting end game, I think, here for both players. Not really sure who is going to win. We'll have that decision to make as we come into round 4.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed also about the JunePaik, I think the Astrapia wouldn't be a better pickup because of the Forester. And I wouldn't be really afraid to give, the JJX, because I know they have, the Grassland engine. They don't have many spaces, so I think it would be more beneficial for them to actually get the Astrapia, play to get more value out of it than the Willy Wagtail. So maybe they were just distracted by.
It is a good point
of these little birds.
Yeah, because I think it is getting to this point now where they've already run into this problem a couple of times, to be honest, where you're running out of eggs, you've got to lay eggs for the end of round, or you've got to be laying eggs just to play birds. And set it right back at the start, but 1 egg a turn from the chipping sparrow. It's great early on, it's great for that early game tempo. You do find in the late game it's not quite enough to fully support playing all of these birds. So yeah, I think the Astrapia would potentially have been a good one, but Willy Wagtail seems to not be going down here. So maybe there's an eye on this end around goal. Maybe there's, wanting to get the noddy out, wanting to play maybe that prairie chicken and see the bonus card as well. But lots of nectar in hand. I'm sure we're going to see some birds coming out here. And yeah, still looking at that raven. I think that'll be a good play. But probably...
Oh, for sure.
I was going to say probably for round 4, but it is coming out now. So definitely interesting stuff seeing that played here. And yeah, still got this goldfinch as well. So I think that's going to be the interesting one. It's one that you kind of want to be ready to play it when needed or if needed. Obviously, they don't necessarily know about the Galar and everything in JJ's hand, but yeah, potentially might be one that still comes out because it is still a big point bird, and even just a few tucks on that makes it worthwhile. So
yeah, and while we were discussing the interesting play on the JJ sides, indigo bunting. You don't see it in Oceania, and especially in the grasslands. So
indeed.
What do you make of that?
Yeah, I got to be honest.
Indigo bunting stand.
Little bit surprised. I saw it come up. I saw them keep it. I felt content inside, but definitely surprised. It doesn't feel like exactly the kind of bird that's needed here in terms of getting more food. But hey, look, that food can just be discarded maybe for more eggs, so that might be the angle that they are coming from. But yeah, very much using this grasslands here. Still using this raven. I wonder if maybe it's going to be the wild turkey that's going to come out. I mean, maybe they were thinking about this bonus card, but yeah, I think it is just going to be getting birds out now. Yeah.
I mean, after that, no, indigo bunting is smaller, so you can't play the quail. Maybe they will be going for the mannequin.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to work out. I feel like mannequin is even smaller than the bunting, so I think that would help as a...
it's 15 or 15 centimeters.
Yeah, so that might be the option, and then, of course, you can use that to play something at the game end, and probably going to be something big points, maybe like the turkey or something like that, but yeah, we will see. We will see on that one. Yeah.
Also, one thing that I saw that they discarded the Peregrine Falcon, and I think you made a pretty good argument here with the bunting, just picking up food and turning it into an eggs. I think it's more guarantee here, so maybe this is a really thought out play actually, and we're just surprised by it.
Yeah.
Really the same point value.
Yeah.
Both worth 5 points.
And if you're definitely getting the food each time from the bird feeder, then it is basically, a free point each time, as long as you are able to then discard that and use that for the extra eggs. So yeah, that could be an interesting one as this game goes on. But here we go. June is taking cards here, picking up painted bunting, so definitely looking for these bonus card gambles. So they've already got the prairie chicken there, painted bunting, still got this kakapo, which is going to get another bonus card later. So we might have a bit of a swing one way or another once these bonus cards come out. So we will wait and see on that. But yeah, the wetlands is all there, I think, for this end of round. So looking pretty solid then. Here we go.
A lot of time.
We probably should have seen this coming, but Galar has come out. And I do wonder if that is going to be the time where JunePaik sees that and goes, right, enough is enough. Goldfinch is going down now, because I feel like maybe they were setting up to play one of these 2 bonus card birds in the grasses, but I feel like you got to get the pink power out as soon as you see Galar just be taking 1 point off your opponent's engine each time they lay eggs, and they're going to be laying eggs a lot as this end game comes through. But no, going for the bonus card play. Maybe. And
that is a bit of a rough draw here.
Yeah.
The bird feeder and the almost filled out wetlands for the wetlands data analyst.
Not the greatest draw. Not the greatest draw. I think probably. I don't think they can do anything with the wetland data analyst. So I think you just take bird feeder and you're going to play that bunting. Maybe the pink power still comes out, and then I don't know. I'm not sure I see a way of of maxing that out. I don't think you want to draw cards again here unless you absolutely have to. But we will see how that endgame goes. So here we go. Laying eggs for JJ, pretty straightforward. And this is an interesting dynamic. Having Galar activate before the bunting, you're getting these feeder rerolls and potentially freeing up more food for the bunting. So maybe that was the big brain play with the bunting. Get that down before Galar so that you can get it activating in the right order. We will see on that one. But yeah, again, not being able to grab Nectar on this Raven is making things tricky. I think the Nectar battle is going to be quite tight as we sort of go into this endgame. Looks like JJ has got the grasslands at the moment, but it's close. And, we know that JunePaik's got all of these lovely grassland birds to play that all cost lots of food, and I'm sure they'll be looking to spend said food as Nectar in the grasslands. So we'll see on that. But yeah, we come into the final round. And that means, Giraffe, it is time for me to ask you, who do you think is going to win this game?
Ooh, that's a tough one, actually. I think I have to go with Jjlig here. I think they're just looking at the hands of the players. I think there's more point potential with what Jjlig has. And I can see the argument that maybe JunePaik can win over with bonus cards, but this is a gamble. You may get something, you may not, and I think that Jjlig is in more of a sure situation than the JunePaik.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult. I think it is really difficult because so much is just going to come down to these bonus cards. I mean, I think if you look at the boards and you look at the big point birds, they're pretty even. We've got some 9s and some 8s, and you have some high point birds on both sides. This engine for JJ, they're just going to absolutely smash that. Galar gets 2 tucks every time. Big point birds are going to come out. Still got this mannequin. Still potentially got this scrub fowl as well that might even make an appearance. But yeah, June, still all these big point birds. I'd still be expecting to see that Australian Raven come out, and we know that is going to be worth a lot of points at the game end power. So I'm going to stick my neck out. I'm going to say that I think June is going to win this one, but it is going to need some good bonus cards to make an appearance. So we'll see. We'll see on that, but there is a poll for the viewers in the chat. Do have your say there, and we'll see who you think is going to win. But yeah, very much crunch time here, and lots of Nectar coming up, and I think that's exactly what you want to see if your name is JunePaik in this situation.
Right, and Jjlig going for the mannequin, so I think that was their plan for some time, especially with this last move that they make in the previous round with Raven taking regular food, because you have to remember and game powers doesn't let you use Nectar.
Absolutely.
Nectar not discarded.
Do not forget.
Many of us.
Do not forget. We've all done it. We've all been there. We've all made that mistake once and then never again because you feel really, really silly for that. So yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just trying to count up on this scrub fowl. I think if they do the turkey and then play the scrub fowl with the mannequin, you could be getting about 6 eggs there, I think, in total. So not too bad. Potentially a nice play. But yeah, I think there might still be time to get out the predator, whichever kind of eagle it was. So
wait, I remember that. The white build.
That's it. Yeah. So I think that might be coming out as well. Potentially Brolga. With the
Brolga is also an option. Another as you said, another ground nest.
We'll see. But here we go. Painted bunting. So June taking another gamble on the bonus card. Didn't quite get the payout on the first one. We'll be hoping for something good here. Not spending Nectar. Interesting. Saving the Nectar for something else. Yeah, I think you want to be spending nectar though in this grasslands. You want to be pushing for the nectar race then, trying to get points. So this is definitely interesting to save that nectar, but we'll see how that plays out. We'll see what the bonus card is going to be first and foremost.
Or no.
Or no. Got to take a look at your opponent's board first. Oh no, Goldfinch. Okay, we've switched it up. So the Goldfinch is coming out. So yeah, as I said, I would have liked to see that come out a bit earlier because I feel like at this point, I feel like probably JJ is not going to lay eggs that many more times. Maybe just the once more. So you're really not going to get masses of benefit off that. But yeah, might still get the one tuck if indeed they are laying eggs, which it looks like they are. So you'll get something off that and maybe a free seed coming through as well. Very, very nice. So yeah, free tuck. I'll take that, but yeah, again, I feel like we've been saying this a lot this game, but they must lay eggs if they're going to play all these birds, and that might be something on the mind here. Maybe, maybe you play the bunting and you lay eggs, and then you can play the raven. But then, do you have enough food to be able to maximize off that raven? All of the questions coming through. So, yeah, I think that is going to be.
I'm telling you, that's trap.
Yeah, well, absolutely. There was definitely a case to be made, I think, for that, just to, in terms of that tempo and saving the eggs. But Goldfinch has come out. That is, as I say, going to get probably just the one and only tuck here, and a bit of counting for JJ to do here on the foods, because with this flycatcher, giving it out potentially can come back to bite you if you don't need it. So I think they're just trying to work out here in terms of. Yeah, with the raven getting the nectar after this, are they going to have enough food? And I feel like they probably are going to have enough food to get everything out. But we'll see on their approach there. And yeah, very, very tight on the poll. We got an exact even 50-50 split currently. So viewers are as undecided as we are. This definitely feels like a tricky one to call, I think, especially when you got Kakapo and that's going to get a bonus card at the end of the game. It could be a 0, it could be an 8, it could be anything in between.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it could be mechanical engineer.
And absolutely, it could be something amazing. It could be something terrible. So we'll see. We'll be on the edge of our seats as we get to that point of the game. But first, JJ's got to decide: worm or no worm. That is the question for today. I'm trying to work. I feel like they probably are going to be playing the Brolga here. That sort of makes sense, I think, with all the extra worms as well that's been coming through from the bunting. So, yeah, maybe there's something to do with the nectar. You kind of look at this forest and you think, I'm only 3 behind in the forest nectar. So, if I can get down Turkey and get a tie up there. That could be potentially quite nice, but obviously depends a little bit what your opponent does with their remaining nectar. So, yeah, lots of options. Lots of options.
I think we can almost see that because the play has been a bit slower, so you can almost feel the calculations going in their head.
Absolutely, you can feel the tension, you can feel the drama, you can feel the uncertainty. I think in these players. You don't want to be making that mistake, I think, especially in a game that feels as close as this. You don't want to be making a mistake and costing yourself a point or two that could very easily decide the game here. So it looks like now, this turn, we are going to see Painted Bunting coming out. So
going for those bonuses.
Going for another gamble on the bonus card. What is it going to be?
Nothing great, unfortunately. It's Vinti for the lower side again.
Yeah.
No real combat.
Definitely could have been better.
Unfortunately.
Definitely could have been better, but 3 points.
Yeah.
Again, it could have been a lot worse. So, could have been a lot worse. So you take that. Definitely unusual to see a 0-point omnivore this late in the game. So yeah, that might have been. One of those bonus cards sometimes you can draw late on and they score a lot of points, but not to be here. So, Yeah, JJ just coming back into the game. And I think, yeah, as I say, probably going to be Turkey. Does seem like it.
Turkey.
And yeah, you've got to make sure you're clearing out some of these egg spaces. Yeah, I think they are looking at the scrub fowl, which I think does make sense. So make sure you've got those egg spaces empty, so you can benefit of that. And yeah, what's it going to be? Yeah, you can play Brolga. You can keep yourself that seed to use with the mannequin at the end. So I think that makes sense. Yeah.
I would say so, because then the scrub fowl is 7 points if I'm counting correctly.
Yeah,
because the mannequin gets off an egg.
I think so.
And it lays off itself. So 1, 2. I don't see the screen.
It's something. Yeah, guys. I think it is around. Yeah, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So I think they are going to get 7 eggs off that, which is pretty good. I feel like these yellow powers, especially the ones that lay eggs, they're always like super situational. You can never always tell if they're going to be good or not. It just entirely depends what birds you played. So in this situation, scrub fowl does seem like it is going to be a nice option that is going to work out here for JJ. But yeah, looks like JunePaik did go and lay eggs, and 96 points already. So that's pretty good. We know they're going to get a big point play off the Raven, so that's going to help out as well. And yeah, this Kakapo, it's all going to come down to this Kakapo. Could be game deciding in that regard. So yeah, so close on bird feeder. Those are the most painful ones, where you're just one bird away, and a big difference from 3 to 7 points. So yeah, feels like is going to be a very, very close one here. And I think JJ just double checking, double counting, making sure.
Yeah, is it worth it?
I'm not missing anything here, right?
Yeah.
And
you don't want to make a fatal mistake on this stage.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I don't think the nectar makes a difference there in the wetlands. It would have been nice maybe to get the sea eagle down in the forest instead, and you get the nectar win there, but I don't think at this point it's worth the overpay and then having to skip. So yeah, I think Brolga here, I think that is the sensible play. And then both players are going to have their yellow powers, so that's going to be exciting. I feel like you don't often see that. So both players will have a bit of fun as we go.
There's only 16 of them in the deck, over 300 cards. So
exactly, there's not loads. So yeah, nice to see them come out. Indeed. So Australian Raven is going down here. Yeah, very close on this poll. Very close. I think it was 8 to 7. People backing looked like June in the end. So yeah, as we said, it's going to be all on the Kakapo. So very, very tight all through these end of rounds. And here we go, yellow power time. So Mannequin is getting scrub fowl down. That's very nice. Bunch of eggs coming through. Really, really strong. And here we go. Right, do the Raven first. Save the Kakapo for last. Keep the tension building. But there we go.
What is it?
4.
Oh, there's a Passerine specialist.
Okay. There you go.
That's nice.
That's what you want.
There you go.
That is what you want. You know, you've had no sight of this bonus card all game, but you take a 6 points there. That could be enough here to make the difference, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out. But yeah, tight on the nectar. Tight on the nectar indeed.
Double tight on the nectar.
And here we go.
Here we go to the points. Oh man.
I honestly don't know. I think this is going to be
same.
Really, really close. So how close are we on birds? Okay.
Yeah. Big point bird.
Slightly ahead for June. Look at those bonus cards. Those 16 helped in the end by the Kakapo. Pretty tight end of rounds as well. Eggs though. This is where JJ brings it back. Cash food and how many times? Oh, it's tight on the nectar. Oh, JunePaik holds on for the win. 116 is the final score to 107. So that was a really entertaining game. That was very, very fun. Two very different approaches. we had the early forest, and then of course the switch into the grasslands there for JJ. So super, super fun. Game 1, because this is a best of 3 series for this final, so JunePaik is not home and host yet. We are going to have more games to come, at least 1 more, and hopefully 2, because we all want that game 3. But yeah, we're going to take a short break, but we are going to be back in a few minutes' time for that game 2. Do not go anywhere. All right, we are back here for game 2. I'm going to leave you guys in the very, very capable hands of Gruvenstein and Alex. Thank you guys for commentating. Enjoy the game.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, the first game was very exciting, and we're gonna see the second one. And the Falconer team still with us. So the first game, the Eleonoras was played, and now for the starting hand of JJ, we have a Broadwing Hawk. And yeah, with me joining this groove, how do you feel?
Well, looking at this hand, Alex, for JJ, I mean, what a start. You know, black-red start in these games, you know, with OE kind of weakening the egg-laying actions. Anytime you can get those extra egg, I mean, a bird like black-red starter is great. And then obviously yellow throat, you know, card draw still strong as ever. So really a terrific start for them here.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was just gonna ask, would you go for the full Falconer team, pick up maybe from this hand Little Penguin and finish with the Eleonoras, which is has reappeared in the tray?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going theme here. I'm going.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to smash the victory button, right? So I saw their bonus cards. It was Forest Data Analyst, and then what was the other one?
Yeah, I also missed that. So we got a glimpse of it. Maybe chat will help us. Yeah. So large bird.
Oh,
yeah. So
large bird. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I think if I'm them, I'm not real crazy about the hawk. I feel like, you know, you're going to go digging a couple times here at least. Probably I would say minimum 3 turns, 2 or 3 turns. So I don't feel the need to keep the hawk. I think I'd rather keep the extra food. I know what they're probably looking at the filled columns just to make sure they get something, but I feel like if you know, do enough digging, even start with a tray reset. I'm not keen on that myself, but I can guess what the rationale is.
Yeah, I would also think that I would rather have 0 points for field columns round 1, but then big tempo for black-red start, because we can spread the bursts like I'm on the habitats and then gain extra eggs that way, and then maybe save us some turns later, potentially in the end game. Yeah, but let's see. Maybe they're also considering that possibility as well, as we mentioned it.
For sure. So nice, nice start for them. I mean, I think they're really debating that hawk. I think you kind of get the yellow throat down and start your digging.
Yep. I just wonder if they debating it because of the tournament theme, which I would happily consider as well. But
kind of just like subconscious influence on them. Yeah.
Yep. Predator birds. Let's see. We had to play those for the scores to get in the finals, the final 8. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that the hawk is bad, right? Because it's like if it fills your column, and that's going to be a 4-point swing, right? So it becomes 8 points for 1 food. It's not a bad keep. I just think it's not great with all the digging we're going to do.
Sure.
Man, but it's not bad.
I also like the way the Oceania works, since if you play just 1 bird, your actions are suddenly really, really great, so you can manage your resources pretty well. But let's see. This starting hand for June, it's tough. I would just say it's tough.
Yeah, they got the opposite problem, right? It's like whereas JJ has, tremendous drawing power. They've got, Red Star, one of the stronger forest birds.
Yeah.
Stubble Quail's a nice pickup as well, but they're gonna have drawing power. So you expect their first action is gonna be one of those wetland birds
for sure
in the tray. Probably I would think the Falcon, just maybe you're hoping to get some extra eggs, but I mean, I don't know, the canvas back as well. It's giving out those extra cards, though it does help your opponent too. But once they see the yellow throat go down, I think probably they become less concerned about giving their opponent extra cards. So I don't know. It looks like they don't seem to be giving that much thought to the quail. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I like Quail because, again, I have to mention that. So Hawk for the team, let's go. But yeah, Quail is really, really great. So, like, I would compare it with Black Start, right? So, like, you get immediate value from the extra food that you get, but it's hard to get a lot of extra food in the early game. So I would consider it like a little bit weaker than Black Start, like I'm on the full game. But yeah, since our opponent kept 3 cards, I don't think that JunePaik expects for the opponent to somehow mess with the tray. And since they pick up Omnivore, I would still think that consideration between Eleanor and Canvasback is pretty similar. So they're gonna score both the same amount of points, and Eleanora's value is like, it depends on the chance. So like we have to somehow operate with the feeder and then be lucky on the proc, while with Canvasback we can big former Martin probably prefer Canvasback in this situation, although I don't think that Falcon Eleanora's is particularly bad, so it's comparable. Yeah, and I wonder whether the Tree Sparrow is a consideration for a bird to be kept under cassowary play. Maybe it's just for the sake of having the pink power, because I would expect that some good action is gonna be played in the game, because Oceania is more spread out between habitats in terms of what people are going to do throughout the game. But let's see. So we saw the Hawk played, which was expected, so I would assume that Hawk was the filler for the forest column, and now they're gonna pick up food without discarding cards, so like two food per, maybe activate those hunter powers, which by the way were kinda somewhat consistent in the game 1, so skimmer activations. But yeah, now we have to consider and manage the food, manage the feeder, and see how it goes. Right, first hunt is a miss for the Hawk, sadly, but we're gonna build up the resources for the birds to be played. I would assume maybe both, just the bold play, saying like, yeah, I have the red start and yellow throat. What's your next move? For June, I actually expected the first turn to be like picking cards. Maybe again mentioning that they have the consideration, the possible one, like keeping 3 birds for the opponent, not messing with the tray. They went double down on that and just said like, okay, let's do more tempo, have the red start, pick up some more food, and then if they mess with the tray, then we still have the option to maybe get the so-called leftovers, but I wouldn't call any birds in the tray particularly bad. Maybe Skimmer falls out compared to both Eleanor and Canvasback, but it was played the game 1, so would you consider that bad then? I'm not sure if Groove is still with me. I'm gonna continue, and I hope for Groove to be able to interrupt me whenever he comes back. Okay, so now June has some thoughts, or maybe, yeah. So what I like about Wingspan is that you can see the player intentions just by their like hovers over the actions or maybe the cards. And I
Am I
like
here?
that. Yeah, now you're here.
Hey, I have no idea what happened.
Yeah.
I disappeared.
hoping
I thought,
you come back.
you had mentioned in the organizer chat about maybe doing a, having to monologue it. I was like, I thought that you were just feeling it, You're
Oh,
just
yeah.
like,
So
okay.
I just mentioned that I kind of lost you, and then like hoping for you to come back as soon as possible. So go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm totally out of. Oh, hello, White Throat.
Yeah, that's nice. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the cheaper red start, right? So, a little bit tough to manage both of them.
Yep.
But, although it can be done, I have done it before. But yeah, certainly, if nothing else, I mean, your opponent's not getting one of those. So, yeah, so I'm gonna have to take a second here to kind of get caught up on what's been going on since I vanished off the face of the earth for a second.
Yeah, sure. So, as we expected, June picked up wetland birds. He opted for picking up both options that we considered. So both Canvasback and Eleonora's. And yeah, nothing much more. So we saw the White Throats pick up. And yeah. So how do you feel about the states of hands? And
Yeah, looks okay. I mean, so Canvasback, June is looking to get down. They're looking okay. They want to get some of the free food off this sparrow. I don't really. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. I don't love the sparrow. I mean, because it's such a specific food, and it's a food that appears on one of the nectar dice, which are going to be gobbled up. So, meh, I don't know. I think I'd look for perhaps something a bit more useful. I mean, shoot, you might get better value out of that magpie shutting down the hawk hunter. I don't know. So yeah, meh, it's okay, I guess.
Yep.
But
I thought
no,
that.
go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that Tree Sparrow is like a filler and potential filler for the Cassowary. So since like it's somewhat, it's like it can bring value, but then you don't really like to play it. So maybe you have the option to go for Cassowary over it if you play it in the forest. But then you also have to lay eggs without any birds in the grasslands. I would probably go for Canvasback and Dig maybe to see more options. But maybe June feel different about that and opted to go for Sparrow right away, hoping for a lot of grains in the... Ooh, interesting, right? So if you have the Sparrow, well, I would assume, right? So I don't think that matters much, but I would probably go for more cherries other than wheats on double dice, just in case our opponents would take other types.
Yeah,
of
I think
foods.
in this particular case it doesn't matter because if they take 2 food, then you're gonna get to reroll. So, but yeah, in general, I would agree with you. I just think the issue I have with the sparrow like this is like an opportunity cost of. I think we tend to underestimate the value of digging early. It's like, yeah, the sparrow, okay, it's if you look at it in terms of, sure, it's going to tie me on the fill columns EOR, then it's a 7-point bird for 2 food, which in the abstract seems okay. But it's you by not doing as much early digging, I mean, there's a very real chance you could have found something better. And
yes.
So yeah, I just feel like I think it was and hat tip to Flan here, who is the one who taught me don't play a bird until you have to.
Well, that sounds right.
Yeah, right. Like you because once you play it, like you're committed to it, right? Like that bird is on your board. You've given up those resources. You can't use them for something else. So, so yeah, I feel like, and particularly with the ability to reset the tray for a food, and when you have food access with the red start, you don't mind that. See some cards, man.
Yeah, I would agree, but we have to have a double head tip for Flan, because he mentioned maybe the tree sparrow was for the end of round. So I can see that. I still don't like it, but it can bring value. It's just like it's so hard to like squeeze value from Eurasian tree sparrow. But yeah, and as you mentioned, both white throat and red stars. Oh, we're gonna have an X floating around after each round and canvas back. Yep. So both Eleanor and canvas are played, which is also nice. We have decent options in wetlands, potential for generating X as well. Yep. And let's see the trade for round 2. I saw an interesting bird there. The one that I don't really like. I mean, hashtag ban black-headed gull. Also, Kakabara seems fine. Yeah, again, a hunter matches the tournament team. Pretty flexible, extra foods if you want to place it in other habitats. So, how do you feel about those birds?
I mean, well, first of all, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I seem to have dropped out again. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the Wingspan gods are sending me a message, but but no. I mean, black-headed gull, everyone's favorite, right?
Yeah. I'm not on that list, but okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Black-headed gull, you're everyone's favorite, but yours. You hate that bird, I know.
I mean,
you absolutely loathe it.
I hate to play it against it, and then if I had to play it, I will like squeeze my teeth and say like, well, I'm really sorry, but I have to play it. So that's why I don't like the bird. So yeah.
Yeah, it's all downside. Yeah. But no, some good options here, and I was saying the look, the double teals can work, right? Because the way OE is structured, where it's so favoring of playing birds,
yeah,
and so if you can, it allows you to spend your turns grabbing the cards and the resources that you need to get some extra plays down. I mean, you can get good value of it, and it's not. Another trap that we fall into sometimes is this kind of all or nothing thinking, where it's like, okay, I've got to use this every round to get value out of it. Or like a similar example would be with the rough, where it's like, okay, I've got to get max tucks all the time to get value out of it. And it's like, no, if you get a few extra eggs out of one of those teals, maybe you miss a round or two of activations, but say it gives you an extra 3-4 eggs plus. So there's not only the value in the egg points, but the value in the turns that it's saving you. Then I think something like that can be quite nice. And in this case, where you have weak food access with just the Broadwing Hawk, the ability to chuck some extra cards for food, I mean, that has its own value as well. So end rant.
Yeah. So the thing that's happened is June draw the bronze cuckoo, which is like, I would say like a little slap on the cheek, right? So like it's a good pink power, and you have small birds to work with it. But against 2 teal powers, it's just like, yeah, I'm here, I can help, maybe. But I guess it's not the game for this bird.
No, it's a bird you love to see, really anytime your opponent's committed to laying eggs, but here it's they're certainly never going to. So, yeah, it's kind of opportunity missed, man.
Yeah, I mean, actually, like somewhat hating on black-headed gal, I really like Kakabura because it's such a cute bird and it's really useful in terms of the game power. So I would really hope that it's gonna be played. I mean, what can you ask for this bird? Like, it's goes anywhere, brings you value. A small one, a cute one. I mean, small in terms of points, maybe not in terms of wingspan, and I would really like to someday hear the famous laugh IRL. Yeah, let's see if it's happening or not.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, sure. Right, so again, some things happened. Do we have an idea of how players are gonna play with the hands that they have for now? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so for June, they've got to be thinking, okay, I have one egg right now, right? So I gotta whatever I play next, I know I'm gonna need an egg action before I do anything else, which I think is maybe what's motivating this play of the Kookaburra. I wonder if they're looking to go Kookaburra, lay eggs, get the Forrester's turn down, and dig some more. That's kind of what I'm thinking here, because that's really the only bird that they have right now that's worth playing that can go in the grasslands. So that's probably the thought process there. I don't know how I feel about that versus digging some more, but I think it's not bad.
For sure. And again, mentioning that I really like the highlights of the players, because there is no so many options to interact with the players. This like slow hover and like hold for the frigate birds. I assume that's the sign. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know what's we're just really waiting so that our opponent can't do it. Is that the theory?
No, the theory is it's gonna be played, and then with all the eggs floating from the white throat and the red star, we're gonna utilize those.
Oh yeah. That's definitely nice, because eggs management. I mean, in a way, right? It becomes sort of like free food.
Yeah.
Right, because you need a way to spend those eggs. So if you couldn't spend them otherwise, then then the food is free. So yeah, I quite like it, actually.
Yeah, for sure. And it's by itself it's just 9 points, and I'm gonna place a big bird on the board, which also will bring a lot of value down towards the mid and end game. But let's see. Okay, the Kakabura starts to bring some food from the tray. So what's gonna be? Fish or rodent? Fish or rodent? I would assume fish for Foster's turn, just in case. But there is a consideration, and I wonder what's that consideration about.
Well, I think the consideration might be: are we going to use am I going to use the fish for the Forrester's turn and hold on to the nectar to play something else, or or what? Am I looking at that red kite for my omnivores? So maybe they take the rat, play the turn, draw the kite, and then play the kite. I don't. I'm just spitballing here, Alex, but I feel like
I think that all makes sense, because again, we have omnivore, right? And we spend this rodent right away. Red kite could be helpful in endgame, because we already have the one bird that doesn't a lot of points. I would be really sad if Kite hunts Kakabura. But still, in terms of wingspan place, It doesn't seem terrible to me. And also the potential for finding a bird with foster turn canvasback in the wetlands, which eats rodents and also brings a lot of value on the board, is really big. Because like we committed to wetlands, I assume we're gonna play foster's turn with the nectar, and then we're gonna have only 2 spots left. A lot of good birds in wetlands eat fish, but a lot of good birds eat rodents also. So I would assume that was the consideration.
Well, hope is they play the Forster's turn with the worms, save the nectar for somewhere else, right? When it comes to managing your nectar count, you see they've already got a 4-1 lead on the nectar. Although, those things can change at any second, right? And here, as soon as they drop the frigate bird, they're gonna see. But I don't know. I like, and nectar is a weird one. But like when it comes to managing it, I think there's a lot of value in keeping things close as the game progresses, because then you force your opponent into tough decisions. And if you can game it out where, it's like, okay, basically you make them defend enough spots where, all right, maybe you lose 2 nectar, but you're not going to lose all 3 habitats and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think I tend to follow more of a try to, keep all the battles close.
Yeah, I agree. And then the nectar battle is the most unpredictable one, in a sense that if you have no raven on the board or something like that, the possibilities to generate tons of nectar, then I would think it's really, really strategic to decide whether you're going to spend nectar or not in particular habitats and score points that way, because the delta for nectar could be up to it's 3 per, so it could be up to 9 if you win all of those. Mm-hmm. And the swings could be also really big if you make your opponent think that you were not gonna contest that, but then play the big bird and say like, no, now I'm the winner, for example, in wetlands.
I want a clip of that. I want that. That needs to be like a sound effect that we can just hit.
I assume YouTube allows for clips, yeah, but I also was going to mention that Falcon, the Eleonora Falcon, hunted successfully, and Priak, nice. It is a potential for not going to grasslands, for example, extra time.
Absolutely, yeah. So what are they looking at for these last 2 turns? I wonder. They didn't play the Forcer's turn before drawing, which is okay, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of wondering. They've got. Do they like something that they have? Are they gonna draw before they play? What's the plan? I suppose we're about to find out.
Yes, and for double till board, I think the plan turns out pretty well. So maximize forest, so we can generate a lot of food for playing extra birds. And then if we play extra birds, we have extra X spots. Teals are popping. So
yeah, absolutely. It's nice. So they're looking at, they take food this turn. They play just based on the feeder. Probably it's looking like the frigate bird. So you get that frigate bird down. Now you're looking at 6 eggs. On the turnaround, and then on your next draw, you've got frigate bird down. You can maybe spend one of them to pick up a little bit of food if you need it as well. So pretty nice. Nice management of these double teals going on here by JJ.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder if June hoped for the rodents to appear on the reroll of Kakabura to play that Great Horned Owl without spending extra food. Or maybe they have other options. Another reroll, and
maybe the crane then.
Yes, maybe 3 sparrow. Well, you're right. We have 3 sparrow.
Yeah, it's. I was pooping all over the tree sparrow, and I'm June's making a fool of me here, like they did in the the semifinal or the quarterfinal where they where they beat me to get here. So I'm not gonna question June anymore.
Yeah, it's always like the decisions. I mean, you don't really know unless you're the player making a decision. The thought process. We could possibly ask, but then you also, as a player, have to keep your train of thought throughout the game. And I think keeping that, for me at least, it's pretty hard. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I've gone and listened back to commentary on games that I've been in, and I've been like, that wasn't my thought process at all. No, I was gonna do this, and it's like, yeah, you know, we have to keep track of 2 games at once, and they're keeping track of the one, and it's yeah, you know, just because we can't see a plan doesn't mean they don't have one, right? So.
Yeah. Right. Again, great reset. How do you like the birds in the train in the round 3?
Well, let's see. Last one's not for June. I'm not sure if JJ. Well, they might get some out of it.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not loving them. That's if you can tell by my tone of voice and the fact that I'm like stumbling over my words. Yeah, it's like not the greatest tray I've ever seen.
For sure. I mean, Black Swan, it works for Omnivore, right? And we already have big birds, but unfortunately, Black Swan only works for 100+ birds.
Giant birds.
Yeah, big boys. So I think that's a good idea for JJ to pick it up, even though they potentially don't want to play it since they have a lot of heals for egg generation. So just to deny seems fine. And Oyster Catcher, I definitely would say that I like the bird, although not in this particular situation. So I think it's like early game could be a savior when it comes to like if you don't have a lot of options. I think in that like particular niche it's good. And Fruit Duff, I'm not sure if I played it other than for the Know It All Oceania achievement.
I thought you were going to say for the memes.
Yeah, I mean every bird has to have its like ups and downs, and for Fruit Duff it was definitely the one, although I'm not sure it was the last bird that I played for the achievement. But
well, yeah, I mean I know that because that Flan's got no time for it because it's you know it gives out berries and he's got no time for berries. So
was it like the motto in game 1 that berries are bad? You can feed the puffin, 6 berries as usual. So why berries hate? I don't understand. Also, like for Southern Castle, actually, right? I'm going to cook a little. I don't think it's gonna be great because I'm not great at cooking again ARL. But what if you pick up Fruit Duff, activate Forest once, and then you have enough cherries for cassowary, and then play the cassowary on top of it? How's my cooking? I hope that Groove didn't leave the call after that, but I think again it's a funny plan on paper. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah,
are you still there?
Yeah, can you?
Yeah.
Okay, this is so annoying. I'm so sorry, everybody, but I have to keep pulling my headphone thing out and in. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it's the circle of life, man. It's like the dove, feeds another bird and then gets eaten, and it's.
Oh no. Yeah. I mean, it's not looking particularly optimistic for Fruit Duff to have a life like that. But again, going back to game design, and some birds have to be not good, right? Because then you provide the players with an options of opting for something that could seem really, really bad in a lot of situations, or maybe just say, okay, we have Raven in game. Yeah. So what do you think about the idea of Sunhill Crane still, like having this situation? I don't think it was the original plan for June.
Yeah, the Sandhill, I mean, they kind of put him in a tougher spot here. Had the food for it, now they don't. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's still fine. It's 7 points for 3 food, which is okay. You're still gonna have good food access. So yeah, I was just thinking about the fruit dove, and just like there's somebody out there in the world where they're like, that's my bird. Like when I see that bird, I need it.
Yeah.
And I want to know who the person is. And I will say, you probably.
I assume Groove was cut out. Gonna give it some time. Maybe Groove can come back in a moment and continue his thought. Okay, but judging by the signs, it's gonna take a little bit. So, what I was looking at is the discard options for JJ, I believe, and they opted to keep the wattle bird, which is not the bird that you see played a lot, but I really like it on that board, because if you play it, again, you're gonna free out some X spaces, but also you're gonna have a lot of nectar, which is important for the nectar battles late game. So I really like the I really like the idea. I'm not sure whether it's gonna be put on board, but I really like the thought process. If the player decides to go, okay, I gonna utilize that because this and that, and it's not the obvious choice. I really like Wingspan because of that. So you can find again, as we talked about, Brood Dove and Cassowary play. This one, Wattlebird. Maybe it's a little bit more obvious, at least to me, but I'm not sure. I guess I have to ask chat what are the thoughts. Maybe you like the Bird of Paradise more. Yeah, so I saw some options, like the opinions on Wattlebird. Wattlebird. Yeah, I also have to work on my bird names pronunciation game. So I see the Michael and Len going with me on that. Yep, but let's see what's the player decision is gonna be. June goes for food. Food is good. Sunhill works for omnivore. I wonder if it's gonna be played for nectar, and then the utilization on the extra grains that we pick up. And I wonder if it's already the time to pick up grains right now, if we want to go for that plan. But okay. Another hunter hunts successfully. Very nice. Falconer hype. Hello again.
I'm back. Okay, this is my last stand. I've restarted my computer.
It took a lot less time than I expected, let's say. Yeah. Hopefully you're here with us.
Yeah. So okay, so let's see. The boards look pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
What have I missed in the last 90 seconds?
Food pickup. And seems like it's gonna be another food pickup for June, so 2 in a row, which I find interesting. Because like they considering picking up food again. Oh no, it's like the round ended, but the last action for them was still like picking up foods, which I'm not sure. Yeah, then the Battlebird. I was ranting about Battlebird, and it's played, so really nice. Have you missed the Battlebird discussion? Groove. No. Last stand was not that long. I hope that you're gonna overcome your technical difficulties and be with that as soon as possible. Yeah, so Battlebird, pretty nice. We're gonna have a whole lot of egg spaces in the forest, and potentially for these rounds, we're still gonna have a lot of food to play, birds to free those egg spaces in the forests. I would assume that we're gonna play more birds in the wetlands just because we have a great options, the big ones, and the one that I can see, was it like the white? I assume it was white-faced ibis. Also, they have the big golden eagle and black swan as well. I assume those are great. I think not necessarily the black swan, since again we're gonna fill out our egg spots with teals anyway, and most of the birds that are big have only one egg spot, so no endgame value for the swan. On the other board, I'm still looking at brood dove, but for some reason I think it's still a cute plan to be implemented. But yeah, more towards the more optimal place. I would think that maybe variant to the cassowary could be better, just because you don't have to spend extra turns for the cassowary value, which with fruit dove it's just like you have to play it, then you have to pick up food, and then you have to, if you don't have all those nectar, but then again we're spending 2 turns instead of 1 at least.
Hello, Alex.
Yeah. Yep. Hello, Flan.
I'm here to save you.
Yeah.
Or maybe save the viewers, depending on your perspective. No.
Or Groove.
Or Groove.
Depending on how bad is the situation there with the connection. Yeah.
No, definitely not been the day for technology to work as it should. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you everyone.
It happens.
For bearing with. Absolutely does happen, but yeah, I'm kind of jumping into looks like it's been a pretty exciting game. I've been following along, lots of excitement with these double teals. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see how this is going to play out. I think especially this is kind of crunch time. You know, rounds 1 and 2, that's easy when you've got the options. Round 3 and 4, going to be potentially a bit more difficult, but lots of nice birds. Seems like for JJ to be getting down here.
Yeah, so I would assume now it's the time for the very into cassowary play.
Yes.
I would assume maybe it's for the double onto the great teeth. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think that's the plan.
Yeah.
However, it's possible because the end of round is birds.
It's a good
in
question.
The forest.
Yeah, I think I suppose you could double play into the great take food again, and then you've still got, you can still then play the cassowary, and then you get all of your eggs, and then maybe think about, I don't know, this Sandor crane. I've been kind of looking at this all game and wondering if that's going to make an appearance. So maybe now with the extra food source, maybe getting some more seeds, that could be an option in the grasslands, just to do a bit of egg spam late on and get some tucks. So we'll see, but yeah, does look like great tit, and I think maybe for the end of round, but I don't know. I think that's already maybe a bit of a lost cause, unless we're going to see Hobby.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see a Hobby in that fifth slot. So,
Ooh,
could be an interesting one.
So that's definitely a possibility. I think that I would still consider it like the optimal play, right? Because you want to play a bird for 2 points and just like closing on the end of rounds delta.
Yeah.
But definitely I can see the cassowary being played because we kind of struggle with X.
Yeah.
On June.
Yeah, and I mean I think it's ordinarily a good play anyway, but with the Omnivore as well, you get those 2 extra points. And like you say, just helping the tempo a bit, get a bunch of eggs. So I think that's going to be useful. But yeah, I feel like June, if they're going to take food hit, it's all going to be on seeing how many seeds you can get on these re-rolls, and the Great Tit's going to help with that. The Red Start's maybe going to help with that as well. I think here, if you can get a bunch of seeds, I think the end game might just be play Crane and just lay eggs. So we'll see. No, that's not what you want. Only 1 seed, but lots of nectar at least. So that's something to work with.
Yeah, but I still think that if you even got 1 seed on the reroll and you have like other food option just to pick up 2 lay those birds with the nectar, then I really like the idea still with the Sunhill Crane. I don't hate it, at least. I would still think that's for me the most obvious one is to play cassowary, and then discarding that Hobby means again that we are not contesting most likely the end of rounds.
Yeah,
the short one.
Yeah, seems like Seems like it. Okay, they're getting some seeds here, so
sure.
This could work. I'm just trying to like work out in terms of how much nectar and how much, because obviously they're gonna get some berries back playing the cassowary, so that might help. They are looking at this Crane, so yeah. I mean, it seems like it could be a pretty solid end game. I mean, even if they've just got some extra food, maybe even if they just take food again, you can always throw that for more eggs. If the kookaburra hits, you can throw that for eggs as well. So. We'll see. This frigate bird as well, that could come in handy. For JunePaik, even though it's JJ activating it, turn an egg into a seed and then turn that into 2 tucks. So there's potentially something to do there as well. But yeah, some good plays I think lined up here for JunePaik.
For sure, and I think that now it's the time for consideration of whether we want to contest the grassland nectar, right? So you can play the cassowary in the forest for nectar and have a stable lead there, or you can contest in the grasslands, play the Crane with nectar. Yeah, they decided to go for that play. Yeah, I think both could be decent options.
It's interesting. I feel like that to me signals they're going to take food again once more in this game, because you've now not got any cassowary food. It's all gone. I mean, the thing is now, they've not got the eggs, and so I probably personally wasn't expecting JJ to necessarily go and draw cards here, but they have, and they. Actually, no, they're going to skip the frigate bird anyway, but because they did 3 for another card. But yeah, I don't know. It certainly seems like they're lining up to lay eggs for a bit, but you've got to want to get that cassowary down, I think, at some point. So. We'll see. That might just be a problem for next round, June. So put that off. Decide that in round 4 when it comes to it. But yeah, not great pickups here for JJ. I mean, what kind of bird do you think he's really looking for here? Sort of digging late in the game. You want those big point birds, but kind of running out of space on this board.
I assume grassland bonus card birds or just the birds with a lot of egg spots, but those 2 sets intersect pretty well with the painted bunting and the prairie chicken. What are other options, like plains wanderer as well? Less egg spots, but more value. You have a lot of grassland birds already played.
Yeah, I mean, he picked up the ruff that turn. That's like exactly the bird that you would have wanted to pick up a turn earlier, because that could potentially been a good one to get down and basically just like cycle some of these cards into those kind of bonus card birds that you're looking for. But here we go. This is what we've been waiting for. These teals. That was 9 eggs, so pretty solid work. But yeah, not really the stuff in the tray that you want to be seeing. So this could be where it becomes a little bit more tricky for JJ, whereas June maybe has got more obvious decisions to make. So I'm going to get a poll going, but before I do that, Alex, I'll throw the question to you. Who is, in your mind, going to win this game too?
I think I would lean towards JJ. First reason is that two teals worked pretty well for them, so they saved a lot of tempo and their plays were pretty nice. Also with this wetlands, big birds frigate, ibis eagle as well. We got the glimpse of their points for now, which is pretty big. Seems pretty big to me. And also, it means that the series would be drawn, so more wingspan.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not what you think is going to happen. It's what you want to happen. So I think
for sure,
I speak for everyone watching who I'm sure wants to see that game 3, and we're only going to get that if JJ does get the win there. So yeah, this is so difficult. I think June has the safer end game. I think they've got a lot of easy plays here. You know, lay eggs, get the Santal Crane tucks. Oh, please keep that cassowary. Oh, they're getting rid of it. Oh, okay.
Yikes,
Maybe
that
change my mind. That's enough.
That was a big one.
I stalled long enough to see the cassowary go that I can more confidently go with JJ. Yeah, they do seem to have the stronger options. I mean, even to be honest, that Black Swan, I mean, it's not a terrible play. It clears out some egg spaces, and you might you might maybe get some more. That you've got a lot of big birds with only one egg space, so that could be a challenge. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot is going to ride on what they get. I think are you going to draw cards again here and gamble and see what you get? I think that could be the determining factor. But otherwise, it might just be, you know, Bruce Blackbird might go down and just do a bit of egg spamming and win this end around. So we'll see. I don't think this is an easy end game at all here for JJ.
Yeah, and like I think right now the action that happens was a little bit frustrating for June, because the owl tried to hunt the whooping crane, and the whooping crane would be the best.
That's what you want. Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah. So opting for drawing cards would be so nice for them, but again, like the wingspan god said, in your face. So
not happening. But the silver lining is at least your opponent didn't go and pick that up. So there's something there. But oh man, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still just I'm still a bit upset at the cassowary going, because you know, with the nectar as well, that forest nectar is currently a tie. You play that, you get 3 extra points for winning that. So lots going for it there. So not the game for it. Seems like it might just be the egg spam. Did get a bit of a look at how much food June has got. Yeah, there go 6 seeds and some others. So probably safe to go with the egg spam. But yeah, I'm not sure what I would do here if I'm JJ. You know, you got to work out what's the baseline. What have you got in your hand that you could play and sort of guarantee yourself points from? There are some options. There are not a lot of great options. You know, they've still got the Says Phoebe. I saw some sort of talk of that earlier in the game. I just feel like that is going to be such a problem with these teals. And you're almost not going to give yourself any chance of using the teals if you play Says Phoebe. So that's tricky. But you know, you could gamble and you could draw blind off the deck and find absolutely nothing. So horrible situation to be in. I wouldn't want to be in this position if I'm JJ.
So for me, it seems like maybe what we can do is draw 2 from the deck. If they're somewhat trash, then opt for the Cockatoo, play it in the grasslands, and then lay eggs. So see
the little wiggle, the Says Phoebe wiggle.
Yeah, because with that draw we can guarantee that we discard an egg for the food that we need. Yeah, and then just play it, and then extra value from the tax as well, because we have a lot of cards in the hand.
Yeah, it could be an option. It looks like they're going for
Or
Ooh,
picking up
grabbing-
food and playing more birds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't sure about the fish,
Oh
but I
my
guess they
God.
grabbed the fish for the tanager, and that was a hawk going absolutely crazy. So
Yeah.
very nice. And there you go, another seed for Jew. So that might be more points with
Yes.
the egg laying incoming. So we'll see.
I wonder though. I don't think June's gonna play that Cormorant, right? Because there is like less value to play it.
Yeah.
Since okay,
Two,
math is
three.
hard, but for now, 1, 2,
It would be
3.
7. It would be 7 points.
So it's at least 3, but then it lays 4x, and we
Yeah.
cannot contest the nectar in the wetlands.
Yeah. I think that's worth it. I think
It's worth it, but then we have an abundance of food. But in order to lay 4x, we have to discard 2 each turn. I think it's worth playing then.
I think so. I think they're okay.
Maybe we can delay it, but it's still okay. With Kakabura, with Kakabura rerolls,
Yeah. I don't think it needs to hit, but I think it's that little bit more security. You can definitely more safely go and throw the extra food here. So that seems sensible, and it seems like they're kind of quite deliberately leaving the spaces on those star nest birds. So yeah, I think that points towards Cormorant going down.
Yes, and what else could be the options there? Not much, right? So either lay X 4 times or lay X 3 times and then lay the Cormorant.
Yeah. I don't think you can draw cards here. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see, but yeah, this is crunch time for JJ. So give it a bit of a teaser. Are they playing the Blackbird? Maybe. Are they going to play the Rough? Maybe, but you can always throw the cards for extra points at this stage anyway. I think they might just be going Blackbird and lay eggs here and try and maximize this end of round goal. I mean, they have a lot of cup nest space in theory. Maybe laying eggs here is going to win them instead of losing it. So there's options. They might still actually go for the Says Phoebe and just completely ignore these teals. So that could work as well. But yeah,
can we go
difficult.
for both? So Rough and both, because we have food, so we are overpaying, but we still have food.
I think they could, but I think the question would be: is Rough worth it over laying eggs? And I think the answer is probably no.
Because I assume that we can discard more eggs from the wetlands. Don't lay eggs with the safe. No. You cannot choose which birds to put eggs.
You
on.
can,
Okay,
yeah. You could skip if you played the Sace Phoebe. You can skip a couple.
You can skip, but you can skip a couple.
Yeah.
If you can, then yeah, because like it's
That could be
important.
worth it.
If we don't put egg on the yellow throat.
Yeah, you
Right.
lose 1 egg there, but you might like gain 4 back by being able to
And
use
we
one of
gain
the
4
teals. So,
points.
yeah.
So I would assume both other like habitats would be overflown on eggs, but then doesn't seem that bad to me.
That could be an option. That could definitely be an option. I mean, like they have got a lot of cup nests out, to be fair. So, yeah, I think it looks like Sace Phoebe is going down. So yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, they're doing it manually, so they're skipping the yellow throat. So then, what do you play then? Do you play the Rough? That's
So my plan, yeah,
just
I
difficult.
just spelled it, yeah. So
Because you could. The thing is, they've got this Black Swan, which is affordable. The problem with that is that you actually don't get to use it, because if you use the teal egg laying in the wetlands, your frigate bird is full, your golden eagle is full. You're not getting the egg off those, so it's a bit pointless. But it's still more points than Rough, so maybe that is worth it. But I don't know. It's more calculating than I'm willing to do at this point. So I'd probably just be laying eggs, but I don't know. It is a tournament final, so you want to count and make sure you're squeezing every point that you can.
yeah, but you mentioned that you're gonna lay eggs twice, or
I don't
lay
know.
eggs the
I
very
feel
last
like
turn?
I feel like laying eggs feels like the sort of gut reaction default choice.
Mhm.
So you count how many points that is, and then you look at, if I played the Black Swan, how many points would that get me? If I played the Rough, how many points would that get me? I don't really think anything else is an option here, and nothing helps the bonus card. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is going to be worth playing the Black Swan, but all of these kind of birds, there's just like such negative synergy between the Teals and the Says Phoebe and the Black Swan. So it's a tricky end game. It's not an enjoyable one, but yeah, it seems like very deliberately. I mean, you want to put the eggs on the cup nest anyway, they're sent around, but deliberately keep them away from the wetlands, I think seems like what the plan is here. So we'll see how that goes.
Yes. I mean, again, it's hard to count, but let's try and do that, right? So if you play the Black Swan, then it's 4 points. It allows us to activate one teal to lay 5 eggs, so 9. And then the yellow activation would be 2, so 11 total. Then the Rough, right? We play Rough. It allows us for 4 points as well, 0 points by itself. We only attack 2 cards, so it seems like it's better to play this.
Yeah, I mean, you still get the you still get the teal eggs through if you do the Rough as well. I think this one is better, because the thing is with the Rough is that even if you get 3 tucks off the Rough, that's still only 5 points, and the Black Swan is already 6. So, you know, that's already better, and you do get at least 1 egg. So there we go. We're onto the Teals. They do use the Teals there. It's a comfortable win in the end round for JJ, and they are going to get 1
one
yellow egg.
Yeah. I was thinking that Ibis is a big bird, but it's not big enough for this one.
Not big enough. Not big enough, sadly.
We're losing 1 point, but I think compared to
I think
Rough,
it's still worth it.
better.
I think it's still worth it. So a little bit better for June on those game end eggs with the cormorants. So that certainly got some points. And yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Tight on the nectar. Looked like it was an even split across the 3 habitats. Indeed, a tie and then a win either way. And we come into the final scores, and the poll was unanimously in favour of JJ. We'll see if that reflects in the score. So lots of bird points for sure. Not great on the bonuses either side. Quite low scoring there. Strong end around goals for JJ. Good performance there. And eggs are plenty, I think, for both. Yeah, 22 and 19. So all looking good. Not too many tucks. How is it going to look on that even nectar? There we go. It's a win there in game 2 for JJ. 115 to 96 in the end there. And that means we go to a deciding game 3. So that is going to be very, very exciting. And yeah, as with game 1, we're going to take a short break. But thank you, Alex, for commentating on that one. And
yeah, thank you as well. Thanks to Groove.
Yeah, thanks to Groove.
He's okay.
Yeah, we'll check in with Groove. And yeah, maybe see you in the chat. But we're going to take a couple of minutes between games. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in a couple of minutes' time. And alright, we are back here. We are jumping into this deciding game 3. I've got Ryan on the commentary for this final one. Hope you're doing well. And what a nice starting hand that is to look at.
We've got a game 3 hype, and yes, this is a good starting hand. We also have another nuthatch, I believe, or chickadee, I mean, type effect
in the tray. Yeah. Lots of things that point you towards a forest engine here, right?
Yep, for sure.
For sure. Oh, I'd be almost tempted. Yeah, keep all 5. Like this looks pretty good. This looks pretty reassuring. Do we see forest bush tip maybe as the egg source? I mean, something like Brolga, you get so many extra cards, so that feels like it could be sustainable. But plenty of good options here.
Yeah, that could be interesting. I'm curious what the first bird will be in that forest. What do you think?
I think it's a good question. I think probably with this start, if you want to keep everything, I think you play the chickadee and just use that as your way of getting extra food, because you know all these are good birds. You want to get them all down, but you're going to need extra food to do that. You know, you could play the warbler, but then you're going to need to sacrifice one of these cards for tucking and drawing, which you maybe don't want to do. You could leave a card and then you play your bush tip, but then again you've got to cost something else to tuck and get the eggs. So I think it's kind of tricky because there's a lot of things dragging you in different directions for getting good tempo, or Falconer as well on the bonus card. That's a nice one. So maybe it's meant to be in this final that Falconer was going to show up, but yeah, I'd probably go chickadee and just use that and get going, and then try and get the wetland bird down. But plenty of different ways. So how would you approach it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess there's the argument for wanting that other chickadee, the nuthatch in the tray, and you can do that with the warbler. But you do, like you said, have to give up something good to do that. There's no guarantee that it'll be around. So,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. So difficult one. We'll see. I think this is going to be an interesting early game to watch, and potentially for June here as well. So maybe not quite such a good starting hand, but they do have the swallow and they do have the Pakiko, and those potentially work quite well together in the wetlands. So do you just get those 2 down and go drawing? Do you think about playing the swallow maybe in the forest? I think there's quite a few options here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you want a card to tuck. You're going to keep the swallow. The question it becomes, if you play Pakiko, you want something to put eggs on it early. So there might be an argument for keeping something like the hobby as well. Yeah, it's interesting. Or you could play swallow, keep a couple cards, put swallow in the forest, and then try and get something for the grasslands. But with nothing in the tray, there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think this is difficult. You make a good point. Like with Pakiko, it's a really good bird with the egg access. You know, getting eggs in the wetlands is so powerful, but you do need something next to it. And I feel like swallow could be a good option. But you then do sort of maybe cost yourself in terms of not being able to get anything going with that. So I think it could be a case of keep the hobby as kind of that sacrificial bird just to tuck, and then maybe you play the swallow, take food a few times. You could even maybe pick up that nuthatch if it's still there, and get a forest engine of your own going. So I think again, like lots of options, lots of different ways that I think you could play this for June. But I think definitely good birds, and I think they'll definitely like what they're seeing here.
Yeah, for sure. And like you'd think on the surface you'd want to get the swallow down in that wetlands with Pakiko, that'd be really strong. But at the same time, like then you unless you're going to get that nuthatch, somehow it's going to be tricky to get enough food to make that work. So
that's the thing. And to be honest, this might be a situation where I look at my opponent and I think they've just kept 5 birds and that 1 nectar. Are they really going to go and draw cards turn 1? Probably not. They're probably, I think normally if you see this situation where it's a 5 bird start, that means they're going to play a forest bird and start taking food before they think about drawing cards. So that might give me some reason to think that Nuthatch is going to be up for grabs. It certainly seems like it may well be the case. But June has had enough of the Wingspan music and it's turning that right off. It is far too tense of a game 3 to be listening to music. So is indeed
No
Mountain
peace.
Chickadee. Yeah,
No peace and peace.
absolutely. But yeah, Chickadee going down. So that does seem to be how JJ is going to approach this. So I think this is
Do
going
you
to be
think
a fun one to
Nectar
watch.
take Nuthatch or?
Ooh, I don't know. I think you need that Nectar here for the. Or do you mean for JJ or do you mean for June?
Or June? So
I think they need
if
it to
you're
get the
June-
swallow. Yeah, I think if it's still there, I think take food and tuck and draw and pick it up. So,
Yeah, I think the only argument would be you use that grain, play the Nuthatch in the forest first, and then put the swallow in the wetlands. But it looks like what we're gonna get here is, I think, probably the more reasonable line here.
Yeah.
Of
it's maybe a bit more going for the
Pico and
tempo,
wetlands.
trying to make sure you're getting the extra benefit of when you are taking food, getting extra food, and maybe the tuck, and like you say, if we are going to see Pikika go down, even if you can't use the power that first time, just by getting an extra card, especially when you're kind of low on cards early in the game and you're going for something like a swallow where you're tucking a lot, I think it's good to have extra options. So I think that could certainly be the approach here. But going off the top of the deck, Wilson Storm Petrel is an excellent find, so I'm sure June will be very, very excited to go and have a play with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not exactly the egg source or the egg spot of your dream for that Pukeko,
It is not.
but very,
It is
very
not.
strong bird.
But yeah, I think I'd almost be wetland bush tit. We'll come on to that. I'd almost be tempted to ditch the Pukeko at this point and just go Storm Petrel and go digging, because early on, you're seeing 2 cards and then you're seeing another 4 with the Storm Petrel. You're going to find something good. You're going to hope that you find that Chipping Sparrow, Pelleted Woodpecker sort of option to go in the forest. So that would definitely tempt me. But yeah, wetland bush tit. So I got to say, I didn't see that coming. But what do you make of that? Do you think that makes more sense than putting it in the forest here?
I think that it was interesting. The Brolga point made sense. I don't know if that was the most obvious, because there are going to be turns where you gain food and you just don't have cards to ditch, but that Brolga does give you a lot of extra cards, so I think that was an interesting point. I'm wondering if maybe they're just either didn't think of it or just kind of valuing maybe trying to get that Nuthatch while it's around and just getting something while they have enough food.
Yeah, that could definitely be an option, and perhaps as well, I mean, maybe there's an element of, you see your opponent has just played Violet Green Swallow in the forest, you can sort of see they're going for a forest engine, and Brolga, let's not forget, does give eggs away to the other players, so it's maybe not the kind of thing you want to be giving eggs to as someone who's going for it. So that could well be a line of thinking there. But yeah, I think certainly, but wetland bush tit, don't get me wrong, this is going to be a really strong situation, I think, for JJ. You just go digging, and like you say, you can now pick up that nuthatch, get yourself an egg at the same time, and you can still get a really strong forest going here. So lots and lots of options, I think.
Also, with bush tit Brolga in the same habitat, you feel a little bit less bad about giving away that egg when you're also getting one yourself. And considering that they're going to be constrained on card access a little bit, maybe you feel a little bit not as bad about tucking something to the bush tit every time you draw cards.
Indeed, yeah. I'll be interested. I'll be interested to see if the Brolga still goes down, because I think it is still a good. It's still definitely a good option. And yeah, you draw cards and you're getting like 4 cards at a time, and you're then still getting that tuck in the egg, and then giving yourself those extra cards to cycle with the swallow, I think, or the warbler. Sorry, I think that's kind of the key. That's the big one. It's just giving yourself more options to cycle with. So. Yeah, we'll definitely see. But lots and lots of options, and a good bird feeder reroll there for June. So it seems like going for the fish. Doesn't look like they're tempted by the Storm Petrel, so we'll see if Pukika gets tucked. But yeah, I think good options here with the Petrel. Do that bit of digging and see what you can find.
Interesting. We're not going to see the nuthatch, but the Western Meadowlark is not.
I think that's a good find.
A bad option.
I think that's a really good find. Again, it's like not ideal because you're giving eggs to your opponent, but I think maybe now that you see the bush tit is out, maybe you're kind of less bothered. But that was a very quick nuthatch grab, no hesitation from JJ playing at speed there. Yep. So yeah, I think we could see Meadowlark. I think with again, Storm Petrel only one egg space. It's not ideal, but you are going to have the food for the Meadowlark. And there is a case to be made to play the extra bird this round with the end of round goal. That next end of round goal, eggs in the grasslands, Meadowlark is going to sort you out for that. So, I think there's potentially some good reasons to be playing this. So we'll see. But I do like Meadowlark here. I think it's a good option.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like when we're talking about Oceania, with the playing a bird being as strong as it is, like that, the tempo of just 4 eggs. Your first time you lay eggs, you get 4 eggs. Mm-hmm. That can last you just so long. That is so much time that buys you. And so while you might not have a ton of egg space on that Petrel, mm-hmm. that's a ton of tempo still. It's very easy to clear it off by the time you lay your next eggs.
Yeah.
Very, very strong.
Yeah, really good point. Like you say, if you're just laying eggs and getting a bunch all at once, saves you time. You can spend more of those turns, digging and seeing so many more cards, already finding some good ones here. Woodstalk is a great pickup. Or you go back into your forest, you do a bit of card cycling up there. That could be very nice. But Black Red Star makes a return.
Franklin's goal.
Oh, and Franklin's goal. Okay. All right. Now what?
Maybe there will be egg spamming after all.
Maybe there will be egg spamming. Indeed. Yeah, with the Star Nest, that is going to help as well with the Meadowlark. So, yeah. Wasn't expecting Franklin's goal. We sort of accidentally summoned a Raven in game 1, but this came up all of its own accord, so yeah, that's going to be nice. Maybe not what you want to see after you just invested in a Storm Petrel, but still could be the key for June here. So good find for them.
But interesting. I'm wondering what the best, now they've got that classic situation where you've got 3 good habitats.
Yep.
Potentially, and you kind of got to figure out your lane and which way you're going to, how you're going to prioritize that. So.
And it's a difficult choice. It's a difficult situation to be in because I think it's so key. I think early on to sort of, like you say, pick your lane and sort of go with it, because the last thing you want to be doing is overly investing in a habitat only to have to pivot away from it in sort of round 2 or 3. That makes life a whole lot harder. As does going for a reroll or not getting the fish that you need for Franklin's goal. So that might give June a little bit to think about. But yeah, I think this is the point where I think if you didn't have Meadowlark, honestly, I might be tempted to not go for the gull and just keep taking food, keep cycling, try and find that forest egg bird to go with. But I think now that you've already got one good grassland bird, you are sort of already going to have to go into the grasslands and be laying eggs, at which point you can get that gull down and you're going to get good usage out of it. So I think if I'm June, I'm very annoyed that the fish didn't come up because I wanted it so I could play the gull next round, but I think there's still enough for them to be getting on with now, and I think you can still look at getting that down next round.
Yep, for sure. And they're going to need to gain food. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so I think the main thing is they're going to want that second forest bird at some point with all those extra cards they'll be getting from the goal.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Now, here's an idea.
Very interesting stuff.
Here's an idea. You're going grasslands, right? You're going to have loads and loads of eggs being laid. You're maybe not going to have loads of egg space for them. Are you tempted by the tree creeper?
Yeah, I was thinking about it earlier.
That could be fun. That could be fun. I think I'd be. I think if I didn't already have Violet Green Swallow down here, I'd be very tempted. But I think there is still a case for it to be made. I think you could definitely get that down. It has the egg space, but also using it to play more birds in your forest and clear out the egg space that this Meadowlark is going to create problems with. I think that could be an interesting one. So we'll see. We'll see if that is the approach. But it seems like for now, Meadowlark goes down, and I think partly maybe for the end of round. But if I'm sort of trying to work out what JJ is going to do, I think they're going to play a bird here in the grasslands, steal the end of round goal. Yeah, Swift is the play.
I do think the chance to they have one chance here to draw that tree creeper.
Mm-hmm. Go on. There's fish in the feeder. You can get your fish at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So it seems like no, they're opting just to lay eggs.
It's a no for the tree creeper at this time. So do you know what? I can understand it. It's maybe not the most appealing bird. I think it could have been fun. But maybe going for the fun play in a tournament final game 3 is not the best timing. But there we go. JJ winning the end of round, and that's a pretty nice looking tray.
Wow.
That's a pretty nice looking tray. Got some big point birds in here.
I'd be tempted for sure.
I'd be very tempted to go and draw. I mean, to be honest, even Pygmy Nuthatch, you're kind of struggling for food. You're going to have loads of cards with the Franklin Skull. That could be a good pickup. So, yeah, for sure, though, Great Egret and Kiwi. If you're running the Forest Engine as JJ is, those are the birds you want. So, absolutely, you've got to block those, I think, if you are June here. But, yeah, this is interesting. This is a good tray, and I think you always want to see those when you're coming here into this round 2 going first.
Yeah, I think the consideration here is, do I just take the Kiwi so I can gain food now? But I think it's worth denying that Egret. It's just so many points. And it's exactly what you want with the Storm Petrel, where you can just play that later.
Absolutely.
I think this is the right call.
Absolutely. I mean, it's I think a topic that comes up a lot is kind of what are you looking for in that early game? Generally you want to be looking for those kind of brown powers, of course. Got loads of these low 1 and 2 point birds out with those brown powers. That's what you want to see. But when those big point birds come up in the early game, I think it's worth grabbing. I think, the last thing you want to be doing is kind of what JJ ran into in game 2 is you come into that late game, you come into that final round, and you've got no big point birds to play, and you're struggling to find out, what am I going to do with my turns here? I think having stuff in your hand, they've now got Woodstalk and Egret and Kiwi. These are all exactly the kind of birds you want to be playing in the end game. So having those now just, gives you a little bit less to worry about, I think, going into the end game.
Also, just it's so sad when you see them pick it up and you just know that those are coming down for your opponent.
Yeah, it's a bit heartbreaking, to be honest, to sort of wait. Like you say, knowing that's incoming can make things difficult here. But what do you make of this? We've got a superb lyrebird, which could be particularly superb here, copying Violet Green Swallow on the other forest. So
as well.
Yeah, maybe it might be a bit of an upgrade here, to be honest. Nuthatch is good, but if I could choose between Nuthatch and lyrebird, copying for the tuck and draw, I think lyrebird would tempt me in. Bobolink as well, that might be a good play later. I mean, lyrebird with the star nest, Mannequin with the star nest, maybe it might just help them get on the board for the end of round. So yeah, I can definitely see the logic here. But yeah, this is maybe the point where you kind of wish you still had the Brolga, because now
I was just thinking that.
Now you're really struggling on the cards because you're only drawing 2. You draw 2 and you've got to tuck 1, and all of these birds are good. So this is a difficult position.
Yeah, it feels so bad.
Yeah.
Like you'd be giving away eggs, but also now with the Meadowlark, that's not really going to be a problem for June. And
Absolutely.
You would have loved that Coltit. You would have loved to just fill out your forest. And yeah, I mean, this Bobolink is good. It's definitely good with that the additional star nests that they're going to get out, but it's going to be a while before they can fully take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think that's the difficulty, and I think as well, just another point I want to touch on. This common Swift, play it in round 1. You get a couple of tucks. You've now not got any food, and you're only gaining 2 a turn. So getting out this Bobolink, getting out this lyrebird, these are big food cost birds. And I know you've got a good forest engine going on, but honestly, I think at this point in the game, I'd rather still have those 2 worms in my supply and not tucked under the Swift, so I can get these birds out a little bit more quickly and actually use those powers. So yeah, this is a good start. I think JJ's in a really good position here, but this is definitely a tricky position to try and sort of negotiate around, because these are all good birds in their hand. Something's going to get tucked under this warbler as soon as you take food. You don't want to be skipping that kind of power.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if the thought is you're gonna have to draw cards again. But it's so awkward when you just start. You're drawing 1 card. You're drawing from the top, maybe, and all of a sudden you're like having to agonize over what bird to tuck, and then what bird to tuck under the warbler. It's just it can be very challenging to navigate.
It is very challenging, and I think you're almost in this sort of strange position where you're hoping that you draw bad cards just so that you know you've got something to tuck. Because if you keep drawing and you keep finding amazing, big point birds or nice engine birds to be working with, it just means that you have to keep drawing, and you're getting 2 points each time. Great. You could be scoring that in your forest while also getting the food to be starting to play these birds. So, there is a risk of sort of slowing things down here a little bit unnecessarily, and that definitely doesn't help. So we have now got a pink power though, the bronze cuckoo. Very exciting if you're JJ. Do you go and block that if you're June?
Looks like they're thinking about it. I think it's a little frustrating from June's perspective. You've been setting up all this stuff. You have so many good things to do from the Cultit, and I think they've got things that they can set up for their forest, as well as finally playing that Franklin's goal.
Yeah.
So you'd really rather be starting to draw with the goal now. And so I think it is a little bit expensive.
Yeah.
Looks like they made their decision there.
I think you're right. I think that it's such a tricky position. I think it's that question of, I've got stuff to be doing. I've got birds I want to get down. I need this nuthatch, so I'm getting more food going. I need to get this gull out so that I can actually gain cards while I'm laying eggs and scoring points with this Meadowlark. So, there's kind of that angle to it as well. But yeah, that cuckoo, I think that could potentially be a very strong one, because you're now not only getting that Meadowlark egg, but you're also getting a one from that. But they're not picking it up, so it's getting left for now. We'll see how that goes. But I think finally now JJ's got some not so good birds in their hand that they can maybe now go and take food and start tucking and drawing and start getting some of these out.
That's interesting. I wonder. I'd love to see a finals full cash money game. Do we think that's going to happen, or we think that maybe a little bit too fun?
I would have the utmost respect if he did go and go for the full cash here, getting that nutcracker down and just go for it. So that, again, I think it's a bit like the tree creeper. It would be really, really fun, but maybe fun isn't the way to go when you're in game 3 of a tournament final and you just want to get over the line. So I think they've got so many other good things. I think the lyrebird, you want to be getting that out for the copied tucking. So yeah, it's again just a question of priorities and where you want to be getting things down, and it's the same thing here for June. Finally, Franklin's goal is coming out to play, so yeah, that's going to be super helpful. Get a bunch of cards, tuck those under the nuthatch and the swallow, and yeah, these big point birds in hand, I think we're going to see those come out later in this game.
Yes, indeed, and we've got some interesting choices now here for JJ. What's your priority here as you come closer to this end of the round?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think with the end of round, you've not got any eggs in the grasslands at the moment. You've not got any way of actually getting eggs in there. I might be quite tempted to go and play. Is it the mannequin with the star nest? Because you could pick up some Meadowlark eggs in there. You only need one just to qualify for this end of round. I think you can be pretty sure your opponent is going to be wanting to lay eggs. with their gull and sort of get some benefit of that. So I might be tempted to get that down, but I think otherwise, yeah, you got to prioritize this forest. You got to build this out, get more points, but get more food as well, because some of these birds are going to be quite expensive to get down later in the game. And lots of lots of good options.
Not pick up the cuckoo again.
Mm,
Thought about it. Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would have done it.
I would 100% be taking this cuckoo. I think, you see your opponent go grasslands. They've just played Franklin's Gull. They got Meadowlark. I mean, maybe they're just hoping to just benefit off the Meadowlark eggs. I think that's enough. But yeah, I'd be going for the cuckoo. You've got plenty of egg space on the chickadee, on the warbler. You're not going to be short of places to lay those eggs with the cuckoo. And yeah, I think this is potentially missing out on a nice defense against what could end up being particularly strong grasslands here. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out, but I'm definitely a bit surprised that pink power's been left so long. And is it time for June to take it? I thought they would.
If you're June, you're wondering, am I supposed to deny this, or it's still here?
It did look like that's what they were thinking. Like, oh, it's still here. Oh, we've got the white throat. These teal powers, these come out like every game. So definitely having maybe a bit of fun, but maybe not quite the game for it this time. Maybe. But yeah,
maybe a little bit awkward here with the Meadowlark.
I think so. Yeah, with the Meadowlark for sure, makes things difficult, but. Yeah, I think honestly at this point of the game, I think you just dig. I think you use this gull, use it for what it's good at, which is digging and seeing lots of cards whilst you're laying eggs and whilst you're scoring points there. So I think you probably want a little bit more going in this grasslands. Another brown power or two. I wouldn't say no, but you're only going to find those if you dig. So that I think is probably June's priority. And yeah, I mean, you asked earlier about what JJ's priority is. I think likewise, trying to get some birds out, trying to get this forest going. We'll see if they go Nutcracker, but I think I would expect them to lean away from that here.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's this end of round goal that you'd kind of like to qualify for.
Yeah.
Now I guess I'm thinking about it from my perspective. I still see that cuckoo in the tray. I'm like, I'm a little bit distracted by it, but it's getting more and more awkward as time goes on to be able to do that. So
I think that's the thing.
You're only getting 2 food per turn.
Yeah, and I mean say it all the time with these pink powers, but there is definitely like a window of opportunity with them, and it gets to the point where they're kind of not worth playing anymore because you're just not going to get enough benefit. I think it's still just about okay here, but yeah, I think you've got to be getting this mannequin down. I think if you're JJ, get that down. You kind of force your opponent to, okay, if you're going to use this Meadowlark when you're laying eggs, you're going to have to let me qualify for this end of round goal. So you're in this luxurious position of going second. You can wait and see. Does my opponent lay eggs and give me an egg? Yes, I'm fine. If the answer's no, I can always lay eggs and it's okay, and I can still qualify. So that seems like what they're sort of going for here. And yeah, I do think that's going to come in handy. At the very least, just as more ground nest space, because that bush tit was filling up pretty quickly.
Yep, I think that makes sense. And no ability yet to deal that end of round goal. So I don't think that. I think just qualifying is the plan here.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's no way of winning, but I think this is one where you don't compete. You know, it's eggs in the grasslands. You're up against the grasslands engine. You know, just let the other player have it. Let them go for it. And yeah, as long as you can qualify, I think you're okay with that. So yeah, it looks like though June is going for food here. So maybe. Yeah, maybe they are content to. Maybe they do want to go for the white throat here. Actually, that could they could stick that in the forest and get something. But I think, like you said, Ryan, just a bit difficult to manage with the Meadowlark as well. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, definitely got some options here. Maybe they just go for the big point birds, but yeah, we'll see what they go for.
bit interesting. I think at some point the Coltit's going to have diminishing returns, but the white throat is going to be awkward. Pesca the parrot is maybe not what you're looking for. Curious to see what they prioritize here, considering that they're only going to have one more turn after this. They want to guarantee that they win this end of round goal.
Yeah.
Not sure what this 2 nectar.
No.
It's like picking up the cherry instead. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the risk, isn't it? You know, when you do go and grab nectar at sort of this stage of the round, is you're forcing yourself into playing something, and that might be okay if that sort of fits into your plan. If you've got something good that you want to play. I mean, maybe this parrot is what they want to play. Although I do agree with you that it's maybe not the right time or place for it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna pick something up. Maybe they're finally gonna pick up this cuckoo. I don't know. I think, yeah, at this point, there's not enough in this hand for me to sort of go and grab food and start playing stuff. I think I'd want to keep digging.
Skipping the swallow here is interesting.
Yeah,
what's the thought process there?
That's a difficult one. I don't necessarily think that's what you want to be doing. I think if you're in that position where you think, I don't have enough cards to be tucking behind the swallow, I think you keep laying eggs, because you know you're giving up points and you're giving up card cycle, which is so incredibly valuable. So yeah, must be committed to this parrot, must be looking at getting that down, and hoping to use that brown power next round. But
prioritizing playing it this turn, like there's this end of round goal. It's interesting. I'm not fully expecting the sequencing, but
no, I think they should be okay on the end of round. I'd be super surprised. I mean, maybe JJ, maybe they lay eggs now. Yeah, I think you lay eggs now to put pressure on the end of round goal and make your opponent sweat a little bit, because you could, in theory, come and steal this. I don't think you want to, but if it gets you that end of round goal swing, that is a 6-point swing plus 3 points laying eggs. Like it's hard to look past that. So yeah, would be definitely tempting. So we'll see. It's going to make I think it's going to make June have a little bit of a think here, because they really don't want to be laying eggs now that they've just grabbed that nectar.
Yeah, it's like you have to cycle the nectar, and then you've got this parrot in hand.
That's doing nothing for you.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
A bit interesting here. I assume they're gonna lay eggs. Looks like they're hovering over it, realizing maybe they're kind of forced into it now.
Mm-hmm. I think you have to. I think you can't. Yeah, it's not worth losing an end of round goal. Just to get something like that parrot out. If it was an amazing brown power, or if it's like a really strong bird that you added to your engine, I could maybe understand it. But I think you just you have to take it, and you got to throw the nectar here. Don't forget to throw the nectar. They're nearly forgetting to throw this nectar, because it's gonna go. You're gonna lose it. So yeah, they are remembering to go back. So that is good at least. But yeah, I think this does sort of bring a little bit into question, like what the goal is here, what's the strategy, what's the approach, what's kind of next on the list of things to do. Because I think, yeah, this parrot is kind of expiring its shelf life in this game, so you got to be hoping you find something else nice, and those are probably not exactly the birds that you're looking for.
Yep, no, I don't think so, but I think it's fine here. Still a very strong engine.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of good cards in hand.
Indeed. And I think that, again, is just going to be the strength here of this gull, is just going to be that aggressive digging. You're getting a bunch of extra cards, but you can always discard those cards, get more eggs. You can discard them in the forest. You're getting food. You're getting tucks with the nuthatch. So lots of good options. And what a very nice tray that is. Place Hornbill. That could be very, very nice with the bush tit there to clear off all those eggs and get a bunch of points. So yeah, no surprises. Go and grab that straight away. Can't blame that at all.
As we say, there's a trumpeter swan. It's a pretty nice, another big point bird.
Yeah, we are starting to see these big point birds coming up. And yeah, this, I talked earlier about grab them if they're there early. You don't really want to, but you should, because you want them later. This is kind of the point of the game where you can start thinking about the big point plays. Those low point brown power birds, not really going to do it for you. We are going to see Pesket's Parrot come out. Not entirely sure it should be, but it is. But yeah, this is definitely the point of the game where you start thinking about those big point birds.
It's interesting. You had a chance to maybe gain food, get nectar, so you can play it more efficiently if you are so excited about it. Get Trumpeter Swan off the tuck and draw.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, but I guess there's merits to using your brown powers on your activation. So maybe that's part of the thought. But looks like Trumpeter Swan is coming in for JJ.
Yeah,
you'll be happy to see that.
I agree. I think you gotta go and grab that there. Such a nice big point birds. Kind of fits your approach, right? The approach here when you go in Forest Engine is, I want to take food as much as I can because it's scoring me points, and it's going to get me loads of food that I can use to play these big point birds. So that only works if you have the big point birds to play, and certainly Trumpeter Swan is an ideal candidate. So with the ground nest as well, maybe something that the Bobolink will make a little bit better later in this game too. So yeah, I think this is definitely crunch time for JJ. Still got so many good birds that you want to get out and kind of need to get out if you're gonna have a chance in this game, but definitely running out of time. So the sequencing here is going to be important, and having the cards to be able to tuck and draw is also going to be important. That might be a little bit of their struggle here, but yeah, we'll see. This is definitely going to be a fun end game, I think, as we sort of come here towards the end of this round.
Yeah, it's like when you're in JJ's seat, you see the possibility of your hand. There's so much potential, but you just feel one turn too slow.
Yeah,
with just getting 2 food per turn. You don't have all these birds that you'd like to play. Struggle to make that happen with the just with the way that the math all works out. It'll be tricky, so we'll see how they navigate this.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of putting it. Is being that 1 or 2 turns behind, and I don't want to keep coming back to it, but this common Swift has been used both rounds, and both times I can't help but feel like those worms would serve so much better purpose in the food supply right now. If they're in your supply right now, you can get out the lyrebirds, you can start copying, getting more points. You can maybe think about playing the Bobolink and getting the eggs to help your tempo. Maybe you want to use a bit of food to play the Hornbill as well, and just really push out this forest. I think using these teal powers early and sort of sacrificing your food, you're sacrificing your tempo as well, and it is starting to hurt JJ, I think, a little bit here. And yeah, I mean, you look over at Jude's board and just the vast difference in quantity of food that they're able to get in a single turn, while at the same time actually scoring the same number of points as what JJ is scoring in their forest. It is kind of a very noticeable difference in approaches here. So yeah,
interesting choice here. We got the Australian magpie coming in.
Yeah,
the bird I don't see too often.
No,
since early Oceania, but I remember what bonus card.
I think I was going to say I think they've got ecologist, but that might be JJ. Oh, one of them's got falconer. I think JJ had falconer, so I think June has got ecologist. So that might be, they might be thinking about just getting the extra grass and play, just to push that out another spot. But yeah, I mean, I've got to agree. It's not really the bird I would have immediately looked at in the tray and thought, I've got to grab that and play that. But I don't know. Maybe there's half an eye on that last end of round goal as well. I think that's the right nest type for that. So that could help in some respect. And yeah, it's going to get used, that Gabe Empower, discarding those eggs and turning them into caches. So it will definitely get usage. But yeah, I think, like you say, not really a bird that you see come out too often.
Yeah, it's not bad. Just it's got it's just not the perfect bird, but you got the great egret that you can double play into that second column spot that they'll be needing when they lay eggs. And I think it is true they kind of just need to get something down in the grasslands and start filling that out if they're going to be just
I agree.
prioritizing.
And that was a very nice bonus card draw for JJ. They're finding bird counter, which they've already got 3 of. So this is
Very nice.
definitely interesting. You can see the thinking, you can see the mindset shift going into this sort of late game, because we talked about that lyrebird for so long, gone, not interested in it anymore. I'm not going for the forest. I just want to be getting these birds out. So shifted, gone for Sister Cola, gone for Bustard, and found a pretty nice bonus card there. And do still have, of course, that Bobolink, and now that's a lot of ground nests out, so that's going to be big points. We know that Hornbill is going to be big points. We know that Trumped Swan is going to be big points. So lots of good options. It's just, again, got to get the food to get these out, and that's going to be kind of key there for JJ. But another nice find for June with the Spoonbill. So almost sport for choice, I think, in this wetlands.
You kind of get to this point and you're like, I want to get all these down.
Want to play them
now
all.
The question becomes, how am I gonna do that?
Yeah.
How am I gonna find time?
I
Life
think
is
that's the
short.
question. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think it might be doable, and I think it's doable purely because they get so much food in this forest. Extra eggs with the girl. You could discard a card for another food. You've got the nuthatch as well, so you're potentially gaining like 5 food in a single turn. So I think that's going to be the strength.
The
here.
parrot is not guaranteed.
No, that is
Definitely
true.
not guaranteed, but
That is, because it's the. I always get this one mixed up with the other one, but is that the one where the other player has to have nectar for you to gain nectar?
yeah, I think it's one of those, like, it's a player to your left or something.
Yeah. So again, like, not necessarily, like you say, JJ not got any nectar at the moment. Just nothing but worms, which kind of isn't really, I think, what they were looking for at this stage, unless they're just going to go and max the Swift. But we'll kind of wait and see. So I think
I think
it's going to be
there's an
interesting.
argument for getting that kiwi down,
Mhm.
discarding bonus cards so that you can get access to even more food, and then you got plenty of eggs, right? So there's definitely no problem there.
Yeah.
So I think it's manageable.
Yeah, like you say, eggs not a problem. I'd imagine. I mean, thing is with kiwi, you always want to play it later than you need to. You always want it to be the last bird, because you want to have more options on your bonus cards. So they've still got this Woodstalk, they've got the Spoonbill. I think you probably play at least one of those, maybe both, and just see on those bonus cards, because you never know, you might draw a dud and you might draw something that's 0 points and you want to get rid of that with the kiwi. So that's going to be potentially something to think about as well. But I think they were definitely hoping to be able to get nectar here, and it's not looking likely.
Ecologist is a good bonus card. It's not one you want to discard. It's a
Mm.
bit awkward. You're staring down 9 food, or no, 12 food.
Yeah, to get all of those
you
birds
wanna
out,
play.
that's a lot of food.
Not really enough cards right now to tuck every single one to that nuthatch.
No.
You're gonna need to lay eggs.
Yeah,
So they're gonna have some decisions here for sure.
I think so, and I think they're going to be difficult decisions because, they're not getting nectar coming up, they're not getting fish come up. So something like this great egret, that might be a big challenge in terms of food to be able to get that out. So there might just be a question of, do I not play that at all? Do I just settle for playing Spoonbill and playing Woodstalk, or maybe just play one of them but double play and get the bonus cards? So I think there is going to have to be some counting at some point to just work out, can I get enough food and do I have enough turns to actually get all of these birds out? Because I don't think it's trivial here.
And now here we're staring down.
Yeah.
It did tuck to the nuthatch, so they don't have the card to to talk, so we're gonna. Curious, what do you do here? Do you skip? You maybe back up on that nuthatch. I don't know if it would.
I think
Oh,
I
wow,
think
kiwi.
you
Whoa.
yeah. I think you keep the nuthatch because you need the extra food. So, okay, yeah, it looks like they got rid of the kiwi and prairie chicken. To be fair, not a bad find. But yeah, that's your insurance. That's your insurance policy gone. Yeah, I don't know. I do get the sort of thinking behind ditching the kiwi there because you've already got a ecologist, good bonus card. You don't get rid of that, but now you're just opening yourself up to play prairie chicken or some other bonus card bird and draw a blank, and then you wish you had the kiwi still. So I might have leaned more towards getting rid of one of the 2 wetland bonus card birds and just keep one and do the double play with that, and sort of keep the option open with the kiwi. But we'll see. They're going prairie chicken. That's certainly going to help with the medal arc. And yeah, we'll see on the bonus.
I don't think that's of cards to draw in that situation. You're not going to get punished by drawing that prairie chicken, especially with Meadow Lark. You've been constrained on those X spaces.
No,
that's welcome.
Good play and a good draw on the bonus card. So Pathologist justifying the Magpie at the very least with a couple more points. So that's definitely going to help out. And here we go. We finally see JJ skipping some of these worms as we come here into this late game. So still got a couple left over. Imagine the thinking there is, I want to get the Swan and I want to get the Bobolink out. And I need some worms for that. So definitely can't question that. And yeah, we come here to round number 4, which means it is time for me to ask you the hardest question of the game. Ryan, who do you think is going to win?
I have to say, I think June's got this one with so many bonus cards. They're going to be laying eggs, getting some tucks in the forest, and yeah, it's looking pretty good. But I think it could be a close one. We'll see.
We will see. I think June is looking in the better shape. If I'm thinking about where they're at now, it's looking good. They got a really solid engine. They got some really good big point birds to play. I think they're going to have to try and find a way of getting all of them out, but they're guaranteeing themselves 4 extra points off Ecologist just by playing those birds, and they're getting the extra bonus cards as well. Spoonbill and Stork. It's a gamble, but they got a lot of birds out, so they give themselves a good chance. So yeah, I would go with June, but I think not Ryan. I think JJ's got a really good end game here as well. Some lovely birds to get down, and the mannequin as well is going to help with that yellow power. So yeah, it's not a foregone conclusion. I have thrown a poll up in chat, so we'll see what our viewers think. Early thinking is June in the lead. So yeah, I think this could be close though. This is a difficult one to call.
Yeah, I think for JJ, the question's going to be how much food can they get? They're going to have to spend. I don't think they can play all these birds. They need to get enough food to play one of these with the yellow power.
So what do you prioritize? If you can't play all 3, what are your 2 picks to go down?
Yeah, good question. So let's see. They have the Bobolink, which would be quite a few points. Though if you can't play the Swan too, maybe it goes down a little bit in value. You've got the Hornbill, which is a lot of points with those bush tit eggs. Which if you pair that with the Bobolink, you can then clear the eggs off the bush tit as well. Yeah.
And hits bird counter as well. The Hornbill.
Oh yes, yeah.
So a couple more points.
Yeah, definitely want Hornbill, I think, with the counters.
Yeah, it's difficult. I feel like my sort of gut feeling is Hornbill and Bobolink. I think Bobolink is going to be better than the Swan. At the very least, because you probably want something on that bush tip. But I think it will need some counting, and there's common swift at play as well. So how many worms can you leave yourself at the end? There's maybe some nectar to look at. I mean, forest looks pretty close, grassland looks pretty close, wetland looks pretty close. So I think there could be some nectar swings here, depending on what food comes up in the bird feeder and where some of these birds goes down. So I think this is going to be tricky. I mean, there is maybe a world in which they can play all three, but then you're costing yourself the swift tucks, and is that worth it? Maybe not. This is again not an easy end game. Lots of counting, lots of calculating on both sides, I think, here, to try and squeeze as many points out as possible.
Yeah, let's see. If you were to try to get the 9 food you'd need, you're at 4. You need to spend 2 turns. That's an 8, and you'd have to get rid of 1 food, which means you're also giving up a point on the warbler tuck to be able to get that 9 food you'd need.
Yeah, and they need to be perfect. You need to have the right seeds, because again, it's a mannequin, it's a yellow power. You can't use nectar, so you've got to have the seeds for that. Or maybe you're going to go for the berries. Well, there's not really too many of those coming up, so that's going to be difficult. The hornbill. So you got to plan. You got to have perfect food, and yes, like skipping the warbler tuck and then skipping the swift tucks as well. Kind of tricky options for JJ, but these are good problems to have. I think when you're trying to choose between multiple big point scoring options, I think that's better than trying to find the best of a bad bunch. So not such a bad problem to have, but looks like egret's going.
About you tuck the egret.
Yeah,
it seems like that's the plan.
Does seem like that's the plan. I don't know. I would be leaning more towards getting rid of one of the bonus card birds personally. I think if you could play 2 bonus card birds and they would cost the same food as doing the double play, and the benefit is you get that extra bonus card, but you're costing yourself an extra turn, which that could be another turn laying eggs and scoring a lot of points that way, or it could be another turn playing a different bird. So I would maybe lean towards the double play, but it partly depends on what the bonus card is, right? Maybe you play and you get rodentologist, and you think, okay, now I want to do the double play and also play Woodstock and maybe the Sea Eagle as well. So I think you want to play one bird and then give yourself that option of playing the other.
Yeah, I think it's it maybe doesn't feel good, but I think either way, it's still big point birds, still a lot of points. And as you say, it kind of comes down to what those bonus cards are, because your alternative, your baseline is laying eggs for those other turns, and so it's interesting, because if you play both of these, now we're looking at laying eggs probably the last turn, so that you maximize your bonus card.
Yes.
Or not your bonus card, end of round goal.
Maximize your end of round and
power.
And the magpie, because you got to make sure you got the eggs down for that. So that takes a bit of careful planning for sure. But they can at least get both these down. So I think that seems to be the priority. Get those down. You lay eggs for final time. You discard the Sea Eagle for another egg. So that is going to help out.
Well,
what do you make of this? Northern Harrier going down.
I assume that this is a play for the end of round, and there's Falconer.
Yeah.
It's still just a 4-point play, and that's a big. They will see soon that they would get punished for that.
I think so, yeah, because if both those wetland plays come out, that's then 5 platform nests, whereas they would only have 4 for JJ, so you'd lose in the end of round goal anyway. I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of play that you might do with like 2 turns to go. Give yourself as much information as possible, see how the end of round is shaping up, and then okay, playing this gets me a tie or it gets me a win, and you can sort of approach it that way. But I don't know.
Especially with the food constraints, I think
I think that's it. Yeah. That's the difficulty.
So
They're going back and
it
forth.
seems like they're going through all the options, maybe showing us their internal mental.
This is the internal
anguish.
dialogue. Yeah. What do I do? Well, they're going for food, so they change their mind. Yep, Harry's gone. Okay, good. I think that's the right call. I don't think Harriet would have been a good option there. So Virio's come up, which could make things interesting. That is another nest type for the send around, although, as we said, probably not going to matter too much in that regard. But yeah, still plenty of options in terms of what to play and what to use this mannequin with. So we'll see what JJ's going to do. But it looks like it is time for some bonus card birds. So make sure you use the right food here, because you don't want to leave yourself shortchanged. And there we go. Not the bonus card you want.
Not.
And that is why taking these bonus card gambles late game is a gamble. And this is why you wish you still had that Kiwi, because that would be an easy way of turning this into points. So yeah, that is
lots. There's been so many good birds over on June's side of the board. So many of them have been tucked.
Indeed.
It wouldn't have, you can't play them all, but yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda, I guess.
And all right, what do you make of this? I want your thoughts, because you're playing Virio, you're playing Hornbill, you're costing yourself more food, and now you got no eggs. So now what do you do? But they send around goal, and getting down. I suppose you can play the Bobolink with the yellow power, but I don't know. I'm not convinced that Virio is worth it, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I guess let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's a better bonus card find.
Ground nest.
Omnivore.
Omnivore, yeah, that's nice.
Take that.
Not perfect, but
not perfect, but it's better than the 0 that you got off the last one. So
yeah, exactly.
Not terrible.
So let's think. So it's 4 versus how many nests on the other side?
I think June had 5, so I think the end of round.
Yeah, I think 5.
I think the end of round is out of sight, but you kind of
I think
need
it
something.
Doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe they didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting. So
I guess
they
nectar,
might.
You put it in the grapples as you cycle it.
Yeah, I think they might be able to get away with this, because assuming that June lays eggs on their last turn, which they are going to do, and assuming they use the Meadowlark, that will give JJ a free egg. And let's not forget the mannequin. You get a discount, so 1 egg would be enough to play the Bobolink. So I think they are still good. I think they can go ahead and actually take food here on their last turn. Hope to get a bunch of worms and go for the Swift Tucks. But even if not, you're getting the point of the Warbler and the point of the Chickadee. So that feels
5 versus 4 points.
Yeah, that feels like the better play. So yeah, there we go. Free egg.
What's that nectar for at that point?
Well,
nectar.
Yeah, that's kind of my question. I wonder if their plan. I suppose maybe they could lay eggs. You throw the nectar.
Yeah.
That's now 7 points to lay eggs, but you cost yourself. Yeah, I think that might actually still be worth it. To tie on the nectar. So
I think the ground goal. Yeah, I think that's a little bit more than the 5 points in the forts.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I think so.
7.
I think so. So they do get the egg come through. Probably, as I say, not needed if they are going to lay eggs anyway. But this is tight. I think this is going to be close. I think the whiff on the spoonbill was painful. That hornbill was a huge play for JJ, and this Bobolink that's going to come down as well. That's going to be a lot of eggs. That's going to be a lot of points coming through in the yellow power. So I really don't want to call this. The chat is overwhelmingly in favour of June with the win here, but we'll see. So they do win the end of round goal. And yeah, they've got the yellow as well, of course, this magpie. So that is going to get 5 eggs turning into 10 caches. So that's not bad at all 5 points from that one. Very, very nice.
Yep, ended up being I guess
It's a pretty
9
good
points.
Yeah.
Or 8 points. I guess,
It worked out. It won them the end around. It, built up that grassland's got more eggs. So we questioned it.
Cool.
I think it paid off. But here we go. Nectar looks like it's a tie across the board, I think. Yeah, so we did get that tie in the grasslands with JJ late eggs late on here. And we go into the final scores. Who is going to be our champion in this deciding game 3? So we'll take a look. June going to take the early lead on the bird points and strong bonuses too. 16 in total. End of round goals. Still June in the lead. Eggs though. Is this where JJ can bring it back? Not quite yet. Maybe on some of these tuck cards, they did play that hornbill late on. That no doubt will bring them close. We go into the nectar and it is neck and neck. Who comes out on top? Oh my god.
No way.
It's a tie game. And I'm trying to remember what we do. What does this mean? What does this mean? We weren't prepared for this. I'm gonna need to check the rules now.
We're gonna.
I was not ready.
Our polls.
Everyone loses on the poll. No one's correct. No one is correct.
Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. So I think when games are tied, it goes down to the points difference of the 3 games. If that is the case, then that means that JJ takes it with the points difference. I know there are some mods watching. I will let them correct me if I'm wrong there. I believe it would only go to game 4 if they were tied on the points, but oh wow. I knew it'd be close. I didn't think it was going to come down.
That was completely unexpected, and at that point you're just happy you made that decision to get that nectar.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Points.
And you look, we talked about that all through that final round. You want to squeeze out every point. You don't want to make that little mistake to cost yourself the point, because 1 point can make or break it. Wow. Okay. Definitely wasn't ready for that kind of finish, but yeah, what drama in these tournament games. So we are just going to quickly check in with the players and make sure that we've done everything right, and then if possible we will look to come and bring them back maybe for a bit of a debrief. So bear with us, we will be back in a couple of minutes hopefully. All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for waiting. We have discussed, just to confirm that we're following the right process here, and indeed, our champion for this tournament is Jjlig by virtue of having the most points scored. We checked the rules. It describes to follow regular tournament protocol, which we have determined to be what we have used in other current and previous tournaments. And the wording reads, if players have a tied record after 3 games, the player with the most points scored across the 3 games will advance. Only if this is tied will further games be played. So we have our champion, Jjlig. They did win game 2 by a margin of 9 points. Oh no, hang on. No, 19 points. Let me get this right if I'm going to read it out. 19 points was the margin for JJ in game 2. 9 points was the margin for June in game 1. So it was a 10-point difference swing. And unfortunately, we have kind of timed out here. JJ has had to run. So I'm going to wrap up. Thank you everyone for watching. That was an incredibly tense and exciting final. Hopefully you all enjoyed. I certainly did. If you took part in this tournament, please give us some feedback. There will be a survey link shared. This was a little bit of a different format with the Falcon side quest, so we're definitely keen to hear your thoughts and views on that. Until then, thank you everyone for watching and playing, and I look forward to seeing you in another tournament and in another live stream, hopefully very, very soon. Take care.